Bay-Area Brawler, Skylar Greenberg, and your Colonial Champion, Sean McCourt. Welcome to the Court-Martail Podcast!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Totally Awesome Podcast and to the Court-Martail Podcast. It's a simulcast, and I know this is a little unorthodox, I guess you could say. If you're watching the Totally Awesome Podcast, you've already heard my thoughts on Worlds Collide, but if you're doing the CMP and the CMP only, then you need to broaden your horizons just a tad. But we're talking about Money in the Bank, but it is not just I, JoshAgeddon, opening the proceedings here, which again, this is very unorthodox once again, but I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend himself, the one and only, in his car, as if he's cosplaying a homeless person, Skylar Greenberg, the Bay Area Brawler himself. What's up, Skylar?
I resent that because I work with the homeless.
You at least have your car on with the air on?
No, it's off.
So you're just going to be uncomfortable and grumpy the entire time?
I'm trying to be as angry as possible for this review. But I do have the windows down, so, I got a little cool air coming in.
Okay, that's good. I don't want you suffocating. just, isn't that right, Skylar? Thump. You're just slumped over dead.
Breathing in my hot air.
This is going to be
There are many gripes that I need to get through this show, and those gripes will be gotten. I have receipts.
Yes, this is going to be a banger of an episode, I can already tell. But in case you're wondering, where's that one guy? Where is that one guy? Well, you see, he had other things to do, especially considering the fact that his particular wrestling sensibilities do not include briefcases and or ladders and or money and or banks. So,
Sean hates money so much.
Yes, he does. He decided to send us notes. He didn't mail them to us because, again, he hates money. He did it the free way, which is, of course, via email. He sent a copy to Skylar and a copy to yours truly. And I believe that he sent you the intro, but before we get to the intro of his notes, I actually made an intro for Sean's notes myself, so roll that intro for Sean's notes. It's Sean's notes! It's Sean's notes! It's Sean's notes.
I hate how you two have taken my gimmick from years ago, and I've ruined it. This was my gimmick, and now you guys are using it all the time.
I think you mean made it better?
Screw you.
Sorry, so you begin, Skylar.
Yeah. So these are Sean's opening statement for his notes. Welcome one and all to the simulcast, blah, 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 blah. It's your Colonial Champion, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Let me be serious. It is I, your Colonial Champion, Sean McCarthy, and regrettably unable to appear for WWE's latest premium live event for a number of reasons. After 2 decades of this concept and countless ladder matches and spots, I am unfathomably burnt out by the concept of this show. I've come to recognize about myself, okay, English teacher, I think there's some spelling here that's not correct.
I mean, he sent me money in thine bank. So
is he trying to be fancy?
Since it's Sean, I can't tell if he makes spelling mistakes or if he's just fucking with us.
Well, if there's spelling mistakes, we're screwing him off. You guys are making fun of my grammar. I'm making fun of your grammar.
Okay, fair enough. That's fair. Dude, we give you so much shit on these shows for your spelling. You deserve your pot shots when you get them.
But yes, after 2 decades of this concept and countless ladder matches and spots, I am unfathomably burnt out by the concept of the show. I've come to recognize about myself that I will never like it again, and most likely this is the show every year that will bring out the markets for myself as I bitch and moan about how tired I am at the prospect of disgustingly another paint-by-the-numbers B show that doesn't even get the winners of the match over anymore. Well, at least he's honest about himself.
Yeah. I would it's good to have some self-awareness. It is good to have some self-awareness.
I am also busy. All of this is to say that I'm heartbroken not taking not talking to you, the loyal listeners of the Court-Martail podcast and TAP. I'll be over here in the corner playing with myself, and yes, I do mean jacking off, okay?
Alrighty then. Thank you for that wonderful visual and that totally needed and necessary information that I can now not scrub from my memory. Was that all for your portion, Skylar?
Having said that, in all caps, I wanted to go into this show hating it and wound up having more fun for the most part. I can't say I loved everything, but the night as a whole over-delivered. Let's begin, shall we?
You see, that right there, don't go into a show expecting to hate it. Go in with a neutral frame of mind. Don't go in with high expectations, and don't go in thinking this is gonna fucking suck. Unless you're watching AEW, in which case that is more than understandable.
Well, okay. To be fair to Sean, it's hard to do that with wrestling, especially when we know what certain shows are going to be like and certain perceptions that we have. Kind of like with AAA and World Collide, which he sent you that part.
Yes, I already reviewed that part, but Sean does have a brief blurb about it on my copy of the notes. All right. When worlds collide. I already played that soundbite enough in the review for Worlds Collide, which you can go watch on the Totally Awesome podcast right now. Link will be in the description. Wink. No disrespect to anyone involved or anyone that watched it and enjoyed it, but I didn't care about this show. It's not that I don't applaud the efforts to attempt to bring a form of lucha to a wider WWE-oriented audience. I just don't have much interest in the style myself. It's far too much flipping and far too little selling. Though I hear that this show toned that down in the matches that matter, I also have a hard time believing Vikingo could go slower than 10,983 miles per hour, but given how amazing Gable is, I'm not surprised they had a good match. I'm open-minded enough to believe that they could ultimately convince me to like what AAA is bringing to the table, but it's going to take more than just this night. And in all bold letters, I am also busy. I can relate to that. Congratulations to everyone involved for making it something of a success. It'll be intriguing to see what WWE does with this partnership going forward, especially considering the way NXT/TNA's partnership has been a mixed bag after 6 months of active collaboration. All right. So we did briefly... I did talk about it in detail about my thoughts on Worlds Collide. Skylar, did you also watch Worlds Collide?
I watched bits and pieces of the show,
Okay.
or at least the bits and pieces that I watched that I cared about. I will agree with you on a couple of points that you made very saliently. Ahem. These two women are absolutely the best. I don't know who Stephanie Vicor and Lola Vice wrestled, but those two women were absolutely great.
I can't remember their names. I don't have their names in front of me, so I don't remember.
See, that's the thing, is that in our group chat, you're saying these two women need to be in the women's division in WWE, and you can't even remember their names.
Well, in my defense, this is the first time I've ever seen these two people. It's like, so much of this show was Patrick Starr returning to his rock with a bunch of eyeballs under it, and he's just screaming, "Who are you people?"
And I'm not even going to attempt to try and say these names. Now that I see them, I'm not going to try and pronounce these names.
There was one dude that was like El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Von Jr., and I'm just like, that is too many words for one name.
Oh, yes, exactly. And the thing for me is that AAA is going to be the WWE's Mexican regional affiliate, if you want to call it that. Mm-hmm. It's going to be the place where they have talent that develops, and maybe that talent is good. They'll come up. Maybe WWE wants to send people away. They'll do that too. Yeah. I just will say this. Chad Gable, if he's already underrated. Mm-hmm. The match he pulled out of El Vikingo, knowing that El Vikingo had to slow down because he had to, because he's not going to, he can only bust up his knee so many times. Yeah. Chad Gable may be pound for pound the best wrestler in WWE as far as wrestling goes.
Yeah. That is true. I just wish that WWE took him a little more seriously.
Could you imagine if Chad Gable, 15 years ago, would have been part of, Team Angle?
He would have fit in like a glove. Can you imagine if WWE didn't have him do goofy shit all the time and took him seriously and, gave him a couple titles and took him seriously, and we had a brand new Kurt Angle to, have fun with, instead of him just losing constantly unless he wears a mask with a metal plate in his forehead?
Well, they tried that with Jason Jordan.
The problem is Chad Gable is infinitely better than Jason Jordan in basically every category.
Well, it also didn't help that the only reason why they picked Jason Jordan for that spot was a rib on Kurt Angle by Vince McMahon because Kurt Angle used to go out with black girls.
Depression.
That was the whole reason why he picked Jason Jordan. Other than the fact that Jason Jordan also was kind of a good wrestler, but then injuries kind of screwed up his career.
Yeah. That whole, he's actually Kurt Angle's illegitimate son. That derailed his career so bad before he even got injured. Like, it was impossible to take him seriously after that.
If Kurt Angle was just the coach of Jason Jordan and Chad Gable, like, that would have been fine. Why'd you have to make him the son, Vince? Fuck you.
I'm so glad we don't have to deal with Vince anymore.
Are you sure about that? Jonathan Coachman said he's going to try and come back.
I am also glad that we likely won't be seeing Jonathan Coachman on WWE programming for a good while because I am rapidly desiring to drive over to wherever he lives and beat the shit out of him.
Jonathan Coachman's podcast is him sucking up to Vince McMahon as if Vince McMahon is about to have him shit all over another lady as they're fucking her together. And his sources in WWE. Fuck you, Coachman.
Yeah, not a big fan of Jonathan Coachman at the moment.
You're a shitty manager and you're a shitty announcer. You're good. You're the Tony Schiavone of WWE mid-2000s. Fuck you.
Wow. At least he said something other than that's a good call 100 times a match. At least he knows some words. Not good ones, but he knows some words.
Yeah, Jonathan Coachman can still go fuck himself.
Agreed.
Anyways, that's one of my 50 rants aside. Let's go to the other 49.
So, your opinions of Worlds Collide it was a show.
It was a show. Let's see what happens because, WWE, they got the shiny new fame, but what happens when it's no longer shiny and new?
Yeah.
Then you make Trick Williams its champion.
Make Trick Williams the AAA Mega Champion. Do it.
Because what would piss off Mexico more?
Fucking do it. I dare you. I AAA dog dare you.
Oh, God. Okay, anyways. Now we're going from AAA show to a Triple H show. Money in the Bank.
Nicely done. Nice transition.
Yeah, thank you. I get paid for it so much that you have to pay me on Cash App.
I don't use Cash App, so fuck you.
Okay. I have many problems with this show. Okay. That I'm sure you will agree with me about many of these issues.
We shall see.
The constant advertising and ads and sponsorships.
Yeah.
TKO is the biggest fucking whore I've ever seen in all of sports.
Yeah, they're very rapidly turning into Mr. Krabs.
It's I like money. Cool. Thanks. I like money. Cool. Thanks. I will do anything to make a penny.
Yeah, when I saw on SmackDown before Money in the Bank that they put Slim Jim labels on the table, that's when I was like, okay, TKO, you need to relax. Put it back in your pants, dude. That is ridiculous.
The problem is that I'm pretty sure this is only the beginning. Yeah. I've already heard from the reliable Baron Corbin for a third show now that next they're going to put ads on wrestlers' tights and gear, and I believe him the way things are going.
Wait. Who's Baron Corbin? What's his other name? Repeat it to me very, very, very slowly.
I don't remember it. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Bishop Dyer.
Bishop Dyer.
When his clothes are wet, he needs to go take it to the Bishop Dryer. Sorry.
When I'm playing a chess game, I need to make the Bishop Meyer.
We're very funny.
I know, it's very funny.
Yes. Stop laughing so you can hear our analysis of Money in the Bank, the advertisement.
Yes, the advertisement, the show, the movie. There are so many problems with WWE's like whoring themselves out for money, and it goes into their business practices, which we will very much get to when we get to the main event. But for the actual show of wrestling itself, Money in the Bank is about what you expect Money in the Bank to be. You get your ladder matches, and then you get your other matches that kind of don't matter until you get your main event, which can matter or may not matter, or may not matter or may not matter at all. Okay. It is the Dragon Ball Z movies before Battle of Gods.
Hey, yo, I'm driving here. What are you doing, a podcast or something?
Well, me personally, I feel
Sorry about that.
Oh, no,
my car, I'm in a parking lot. The cars agree with me.
Yeah, well, they tell them to stop beeping in unison.
Fuck you.
Me, I thought this show was the best Money in the Bank pay-per-view they've done in a long time. Because last year's was fine. The one before that was fine. And the ones before that were the Vince McMahon administration that are practically no-go zones at this point. I loved this show. I thought this was I had some problems here and there, which we will address as we move along, but I very much enjoyed this show. This is probably my second favorite WWE show of the year so far, after Elimination Chamber.
But the bar has been so low for shows this year.
Somewhat.
Here's my thing. Money in the Bank is not a bad show. At least this one was not. It's just that Sean does have a point. At some point, after you've seen so many Money in the Banks, what can you do?
I mean, to be 100% fair, Triple H himself has admitted that he's sick of the concept.
If he's sick of the concept, how long is the concept going to be around?
I know and I myself was guilty of saying this, like, why doesn't he just not book it? I'm thinking that if he's really sick of it, because again, they can't just not have, we're just removing it from the schedule. They can't just do that. But I won't be surprised if in like maybe 3, 4, 5 years, they just stop having Money in the Bank. I would not be surprised. I know a lot of people are like, move it back to WrestleMania. And I'm like, or just don't have it at all. Just get rid of the entire concept. Because I also agree that while I did enjoy the show, and I'm curious to see what they're going to do with Money in the Bank this go-round, especially because Raw just started, because we're recording this right now at about 8:24 p.m. on a Monday. So, Raw's happening right now as we speak. I'm curious to see what they're going to do, especially with the men's Money in the Bank winner. But, yeah, the concept of the show is tired. And I wouldn't even have it at WrestleMania. I would just get rid of the whole thing.
I mean, you can make a case for it at Mania because it could be the multi-man match or the multi-women match that gets people on the card. That's the only, thing that you could help with it. I think the thing for me that I'm going to be self-honest in this one, is that a lot of the WWE shows this year, to me, have felt off for one reason or another, and I can't quite put my finger on it, but I think it comes back to the same conclusion that we had about Mania, is that there's not as much excitement this time around, which, how could you meet the excitement of last year's? You can't. Honestly.
Yeah, 2024 was the best year WWE's had in a long time. And due to some extenuating circumstances that is not entirely their fault, and some boneheaded...
AKA Fuck the Rock.
Yeah, and some boneheaded decisions that they have made that are their fault, they're in a little bit of a lull, although I definitely feel like I'm the only person that will have this opinion. The Worlds Collide and this show were a little bit of a shot of adrenaline that they need, and I'm hoping that this show is the start of them trying to claw back some of the momentum they had last year. I could be wrong, but that might just because the way I feel, because I thought this show was so good.
I definitely see the potential. It's just they need to be very smart about how they do things going forward, because now they have King and Queen of the Ring coming up. The winners get title shots at SummerSlam. So, I mean, we'll see. They're in an interesting... It feels like we're in a transitional period right now with WWE, because we're transitioning away from a Roman Reigns-centric title reign and really a Roman Reigns-centric world.
Yeah.
Because he's no longer the big star. It was supposed to be Cody Rhodes, and then The Rock had to insert his Johnson into it.
Yeah.
And even John Cena, despite his heel turn, it's just there. There's really a weird period with WWE, because it was obviously Roman Reigns as WWE. Then it was Cody Rhodes WWE. And now it's supposed to be John Cena's, but it's not.
I will say it till it's blue in the face. The Rock ruined John Cena's heel turn. He really did. And now,
well, he made the John Cena's heel turn, and then he ruined it.
Because, like, this whole time John Cena's been heel, like, a lot of people are like just have already given up on it and are like, this John Cena heel turn sucks. We can't wait till this is over. Just let the dude retire already. And I'm just like, well, what John is doing himself, he's doing it very well. I like what John Cena's doing. The problem is this whole time it just feels like a significant chunk of it is missing. And since this is the main story in WWE right now, even though they're trying to make the Seth Rollins thing the main story, but the main thing with the main title, a key ingredient is missing and has been missing since March. So I can't blame people for feeling that this is hackneyed and half-assed, because it kind of is, because an important part of it is decided it's just not worth his time.
Yes, but it will be worth his time because he's going to go out and do other shit.
So.
Because, The Rock is so special.
Oh, yeah, he certainly is. He certainly is special.
But that's the thing, is that laying all this stuff out and just kind of like going forward and moving on from this, I hope that the power struggle that Jonathan Coachman says is happening in WWE between The Rock and Triple H, I hope it's not real. I just hope that we get past all this and that he doesn't show his face again. But I know he's going to show his face again, and that's the part that sucks.
And it also sucks that even though he hasn't been on TV since March, it is now June, and his lack of presence when he inserted himself into something was important. We're still feeling it. Like, this is going to be a problem for the rest of the year, in my opinion. Just the lack of him, even though we don't want to see him, the lack of him hurt a lot of things that are still aching and are trying to heal and get past, but they're still growing pains.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But anyways, let's get the money. Let's get the money in the bank. Let's talk about the actual show.
Yes.
I don't know how you feel about this commentary table, but can we please get rid of Pat McAfee once and for all?
No, I like Pat McAfee.
Okay, then let me get a better thing. Can we get Pat McAfee focused 100% of the time?
Sure.
Because when he's not, especially when there's something on Raw that he doesn't give a shit about, he sucks. I'll say this. He was good tonight, right?
I thought it was pretty good on the night.
But when he's not interested, Pat McAfee is like shit.
I mean...
See, this is one of my many takes that I have that I know Josh was not going to agree with me on.
Yeah. I really like Pat McAfee. I can see why he would be grating on a lot of people, but he doesn't bother me. The only thing he does that bothers me is whenever Jey Uso comes out and literally everyone just starts yeeting and he gets really, really into it, and I'm just kind of like... Skipping the entrance now. Can we just please get to the match? No, now we're doing the encore of Jay's entrance, and he's yeeting again. Oh boy, and yeah, I'm kind of over that.
But anyways, we have the women's Money in the Bank match. It is Alexa Bliss, Julia, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, Stephanie Vacour, and Naomi.
What were your thoughts on this match, Skylar?
Well, we have the makings of a good women's division if it was not separated on two brands.
I know, right? Again, this is another reoccurring issue with WWE. If they did not insist on this stupid brand split, their tag roster would be much more dynamic. Their women's roster would be much more stacked. We wouldn't have an issue of so many championships. But no, we have to have two separate brands because that's the one.
You'd also have to fire half the workers.
Depending on who they are, that's not a bad thing. But don't tell the
Yeah,
but whatever you do,
if
don't
we can
tell
just
the internet
get
that.
rid of the miscellaneous people who are really shitty, Zelina Vega.
Zelina, there is the fact that Zelina Vega, and I said as much in my Worlds Collide review, especially when I was talking about that women's tag team match. The fact that those two women whose names I can't even remember are just in AAA, and Zelina Vega has a championship on WWE main roster television, that is insulting to me.
You're not wrong. But this women's match was really, really good. Is it sad to say it's the best women's Money in the Bank in history?
You want to talk about low bars, Skylar? That one is beneath the pavement. But yes, I will agree. This was not only a very good match, but absolutely, easily the best Money in the Bank ladder match that the women have ever had. Mostly because it's filled with people that can wrestle. Huh, who would have thought?
It's not just that it's filled with people who can wrestle, but legitimately all 6 of the women in this match, even the ones I don't like, are at least of some type of caliber of star or are over or somewhat.
Yes.
Like, even the women I don't like, and we'll get to the women I don't like in a second, they proved that they belonged here, and more importantly, these 6 women kind of, again, I know it was cheesy doing the whole women of the old time, new women faces going off, like the old guard versus the new guard stuff. I know that was cheesy as hell. But you know what? Worth it.
I liked. Let me tell you who I was. This whole the past since Friday to today, the person I have been the most impressed with is absolutely Stephanie Vaquer, because she had a great match on SmackDown. She had a great match at Worlds Collide, and she was a part of a great match here at Money in the Bank. Dude, I said as much in my Worlds Collide review. This woman is incredible, and she is going to get. She's already over like crazy. She is going to get so insanely over. Like, she is so damn good.
If she doesn't have the world title by the time the Royal Rumble comes around, she should win the Royal Rumble.
That might be pushing it a little bit. I would hold off until sometime next year, because again, you're still introducing her. But I would
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you give her 7 months, make her the Royal Rumble winner. Because
I would have her win the women's Intercontinental title and have a little run with that first.
I mean, at this point, who cares? Like, Stephanie Vaquer, and again, Julia is the other really impressive girl athletically. Those two are really, really good. Roxanne Perez, the prodigy, did I not predict that she would be the future?
She was a focal point of NWL for a reason.
Well, the last season, with all 2 episodes I had.
Yeah. I mean, you did
all
get
2 episodes I had of her.
You did get across the very important tidbit of information that ever since she was a little girl, she wanted to be a wrestler.
Yes, I know.
Which is crucial. But hey, there's a reason why you've always been high on her. She's really good.
Yeah, and I Nostradamus, her and Rhea Ripley, which, cool.
Yeah.
Based on this match.
Speaking of which, it makes me so happy every time Rhea Ripley comes out to a monster pop, because there is a contingent of basement-dwelling incels on X that absolutely despise Rhea Ripley simply because she's a babyface that has been consistently pushed. Because there are people on the internet, on social media, in the IWC, there's nothing they hate more than a babyface that is properly pushed for a consistent amount of time, because they have been conditioned to think that's a bad thing. So they hate Rhea Ripley, even though she's incredible. And it makes me so happy, and it puts a big smile on my face whenever the crowd adores her, because I know that just pisses the IWC off.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though, that people need to realize. Fuck your opinions.
Unless they involve our truth, which we'll get to that.
Well, and I get it, because some babyfaces that are booked under are not particularly interesting. I get that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that with Rhea Ripley, okay? You want to talk about interesting? It is goddamn special.
If I see Rhea Hogan one more time, I will injure someone. I will go out and hurt somebody.
Well, it won't be me and it won't be Sean because we're her biggest fans.
Well, because you two have brains. You two have, like, a functioning prefrontal cortex. I'm legitimately convinced...
And because we simp for her.
Well, that's neither here nor there, and Sean also simps very, very hard for Stephanie Vaquer, which is there's only so much simpage that I can tolerate, and I'm not at all jealous. When did you stop simping for me, Sean? But anyway, I
mean, the peak of this match cannot be anything other than Stephanie Vaquer grabbing Rhea Ripley, bringing her to the ladder, and banging her head on the ladder in the Devil's Kiss,
and the entire crowd going ah ah ah. Booker T, what have you done?
I mean, here's the thing, okay? This is kind of like a trend that I've noticed with certain wrestlers. Well, they'll come up with a spot and they'll get over because of the spot.
Mm-hmm.
But Stephanie Vaquer is so good that hopefully she transcends the people who only do a move and then whatever. Because remember when Cesaro did the swing?
Yes, and that was the only... It got... Because of his terrible booking... That became the only thing people cared about it with him is, oh, do the swing. Oh, I don't care about anything else you do.
Well, also, it's the fact that he wasn't a very good promo.
That is true. Which, that I've heard some people have concerns that might be the one weakness in Stephanie's game. But, at the same time, Io Sky is super over and has been super over. And she's not very good at English. So,
and that's the thing, is that you can get over if you don't speak English if you are charismatic enough that it can carry through.
If you're charismatic and you do moves that look really cool. And can,
for example, the reason why Nakamura got over early on was not because of the fact that he couldn't speak English, but it was because of the fact that he had the freaky charisma and he could do good wrestling matches.
Mm-hmm.
Until his body started breaking down, which is unfortunate, but, Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah, and... Honestly, a lot of people give Nakamura crap for how he's really toned his style down over the past, 7 years. But at the same time, I'm like, the dude was destroying himself in Japan. And now he's like, you mean I don't have to work an insanely body-destroying style here in the States? I can kind of take it easy and make a lot of money? Who wouldn't want that?
That's the thing about New Japan, is that if you look at the people that were the stars of New Japan back in the last 20 years or so, but really specifically the last 15, so many of their bodies have been broken and destroyed because of that style, which, again, is very exciting, is very fun, but it makes it so difficult. Look at Okada right now. Dude, the Okada of right now is not the Okada of a couple years ago.
Dude, you want to get depressed? Look at Tetsuya Naito right now. The dude can barely walk.
And these are guys who shouldn't be wrestling, or if they are, they should be wrestling the easier styles. Now, I'm not the fan of the way the Okada's wrestling, but that's a whole other conversation for a whole other time.
Yeah, well, I like what Okada's doing, and I'm looking forward to him and Kenny Omega for some godforsaken reason, because I still... Because you simp for Kenny Omega. You're not wrong, and I will continue to do so. Kenny, please come to WWE. Please.
He's never going to come to WWE.
Asking for a friend, never say never.
Oh, God. But again, and also, we're not doing much play-by-play of this match. We're not going to do much play-by-play of any of these matches. I would just highlight spots and highlight things. Personally, go watch the show.
Yeah.
Because, honestly, Joshua, you and me are not play-by-play. We're not going to color commentate people. You will have to pay us for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Go to our OnlyFans.
Shut it.
That is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, Skylar.
You mean the Ron Killings?
Yes. So if we made an OnlyFans, we would definitely make a Ron Killings. we would be rolling in the dough.
But are there any other spots besides Stephanie Vaquer's Devil's Kiss that you really liked in this match?
There was a spot that I loved and a spot that I kind of did not like. One.
All right, we'll go for the spot you loved first.
Dude, that spot where I think it was Julia and Roxanne, where they lifted up Alexa Bliss and dropped her gut first on the ladder that was on its side. That was brutal. And they showed it in slow-mo, oh my God. Alexa's lucky she didn't bust any ribs on that. That looked nasty.
Okay.
Right in the baby maker. Well, not the baby maker, the baby
Well,
carrier.
thankfully she already has the baby, so we're good.
Thank God. Because because if she hadn't have already had the baby, that would have been the Planned Parenthood move right there. But anyway, the spot I didn't like.
Joshua, we're not trying to get sued here.
Well, that is what you think, good sir. I'm just balls to the walls here.
God, why are we so horny right now?
But speak for yourself, good sir. But well, anyway,
I mean, I am speaking for myself. I am horny, but why are you horny?
Well, I mean, you know how some women can sync up there. Anyway, we're gonna move on. So the spot that I didn't care for. Okay, I didn't care for half of it. It was when Alexa Bliss gave, I can't remember who she gave it to, the code red to, it might have been to Julia, while Roxanne was giving someone else a code red on the other side of this ladder bridge contraption they set up.
Oh, you hate synchronized spots?
It's not that. It's more just that Alexa's code red looked really good and sounded really good. Roxanne's looked terrible and it made no sound, and I was just like, why did you even bother?
Well, again, it's to show that Roxanne is the Alexa Bliss in training.
I guess. I just wasn't... If it was just Alexa Bliss doing the one code red on the ladder, that would have been fine. It didn't need to be synced up, and if you are going to sync it up, then both of you have to look good when you're doing it. It's not anywhere near as bad as at War Games when Tiffany was blatantly waiting on Io Sky to jump. It wasn't
And then they
bad.
mistimed it anyways?
Yes, it wasn't that bad, but it still was one of those things where I was like, yeah. And I will
But
say,
it's the staple of multi-people matches. You have to sync up your spots.
No, I get it that women like to sync up certain things, but spots doesn't have to be one of them. Damn it. But anyway, I keep going back to this joke. Also, I just felt like the beginning of the match was a little slow for my liking, but it did pick up and it did get going.
Well, the thing is that the problem is that if you go balls to the wall from the start, you're not going to have the energy to maintain it.
That is true, but I feel like that. I don't know. The first 5 minutes of the match, I was kind of like, okay, all right, we doing this or what? Also, there was a spot that kind of concerned me a little bit. It's when Rhea Ripley tried to do the Razor's Edge on Roxanne into the ladder, and Roxanne countered it with a Rana. Roxanne, I thought she smacked her head on the ladder and split her skull open. That was very close, and that made me yelp a little bit. Just the margin for error on that was a little small. And then she turned around and did a beautiful springboard moonsault on the ladder that popped the crowd, so that was cool. I was like, okay, she's alive. Good.
And just think, Roxanne Perez is only 23.
I feel so old.
Yeah, at the ripe old age of 28.
Well, I'm 27, good sir.
Oh, sorry, I misnumbered you.
I will be 28 in November, good sir.
Oh, that's when Roxanne Perez turns 24.
God, I feel old!
Welcome to the club. Soon you'll be in the 30s.
Don't remind me of
One
it!
of us. One of us.
Stop
One of us.
You and your walking stick, stop that right now, old man. But anyway. So, I know that me and you are also going to have a diverging opinion as far as the winner of this contest is concerned. So let's go ahead and get into Naomi winning the Money in the Bank briefcase.
It's not that I hate Naomi. It's that I think any of the other women could have been a better winner.
If Naomi had not turned heel and has not done all that much since turning heel, I would have... I don't know who I would have given it to. Maybe Stephanie, but again, that might be too much too soon. Maybe Roxanne.
Stephanie would have been too early.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley was the obvious favorite that couldn't win for obvious reasons.
Yeah. Because it would piss off Twitter.
Alexa Bliss just got back and hasn't done anything since, so really it doesn't make sense for her. Neither Julia. Honestly, Roxanne Perez maybe should have been the one.
But since Naomi turned heel and has been doing very well as a heel, other than her character work has been what's really good. Her win-loss record has not changed much. So she honestly...
But that's how Money in the Bank is. The people who lose before the match get the win.
And they lose after getting the win until they decide to turn. That's a WWE-ism that even with the new administration they have not stopped doing, which still kind of drives me crazy. Because the idea is they're trying to throw you off the scent by burying the shit out of the Money in the Bank holder to catch you off guard when they cash it in and win. Like, oh, I wasn't expecting. I didn't think that you took them seriously. That's their thinking. I understand that that's their thought process, but it's still stupid. So, if I tune into SmackDown this Friday or Saturday, if I even watch it, because again it's a 3-hour godforsaken show. If Naomi immediately has a match with someone and loses on SmackDown, I'm going to be annoyed. Have her win things.
Well, now that you've said it, it's going to come to existence.
I know, but still, I hate their let's make the Money in the Bank winners lose constantly until they cash in. I hate that. It's very annoying.
Well, either way, we have to get the Sean's notes.
All right, what did Sean say about the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match?
These entrances took so fucking long. We start the show with Cole, Wade, and Pat, and we don't start the first match until 17 minutes in. I know this company is nothing but a dairy farm at this point, given how much milking is part of their formula, but seriously, I don't want to be able to watch an episode and a half of SpongeBob before the opening match starts.
What that episode of SpongeBob happened to be When Worlds Collide. Continue.
This isn't exclusive to the women or this match either. The entrance times across the board are absolutely absurd. Having said that, I'm sure part of the reasoning this is done is to make sure all the late arrivals on Peacock have as large of a window as possible to tune in before anything of interest happens. I get why they do it, but it's annoying to me nonetheless. We kick off the match with Millionaire Club versus New Blood stare down that Vince Russo abused mercilessly.
Boo! Boo! Don't you dare.
Abused mercilessly in his time in WCW. In this context, it was too overdrawn and too little too late given the egos of the wrestlers involved. In this context, in this match, it works to establish the newest crop of call-ups that WWE considers the women's wrestlers of the future. Of all the women that WWE has in their system, Roxanne, Julia, and Stephanie all have the best chance of being what WWE hopes to be the face of the division in 3 to 5 years. So in this case, it worked fine. Didn't love the vets dumping all of them out to start, but considering how the action went, it's small potatoes. Oh, God. Okay. Ready for this bit?
Does it have to do with him drooling over Stephanie Vaquer?
Alexa Bliss sent onto Vaquer and Naomi, me likey.
Well, I was 1/3 correct.
Who could forget the most over wrestler on the roster, the Table? I hope someone in NXT one day is named Table Stevenson, and he says that so that stupid ass. We want Table's chicken guy.
Table Stevenson. That is brilliant. That is absolutely one way we can make the crowd never chant "We want tables" ever again. That is brilliant.
You say this, but now they're going to make Chad Gable dress up as a table for Halloween.
Oh no, with a Slim Jim logo.
Everything Rhea Ripley does appears to have more impact. Her strikes are better than most of the men's strikes, and the knee she gave Roxanne Perez struggling for the ladder was brutal. It was strange how Roxanne and Rhea got into that springboard moonsault onto the ladder, but the end result makes me excited for the Skylar NWO endorsed feud between Rhea and Roxanne. I've been waiting for this ever since I was alone.
We both did that same bit. Me and Sean have been friends for too long. Our brains are merging into one.
Let's be clear, okay? The only reason why I made that quote with Roxanne Perez was because I was making fun of Liv Morgan 2 years ago.
Not just Liv Morgan, basically every female wrestler in WWE at that point, where their entire backstory was, I was a little girl once and I saw wrestling and I was like, me want that.
Yeah, and you probably saw AJ Lee. That's probably the person that they were watching.
Yeah.
All those pesky ladder braces, if only wrestlers had basic knowledge of basic tools, maybe we wouldn't have to see Rhea splayed out. Splayed out?
Yeah, that's a word.
SPLAYED?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
BA in English. Continue.
Maybe we wouldn't have to see Rhea splayed out anxiously practicing for the birth of Buddy Matthews.
Oh my god.
God damn it, Sean.
We are struggling to keep it together here on this program. Thanks, Sean.
I did not need to picture Rhea Ripley giving birth to Buddy Matthews' spawn. Thank you, Sean. Jesus Christ. That baby is going to have so many muscles.
Well, since they're both Australian, does that mean that Rhea Ripley has a pouch for the baby?
That's so fucking racist. Jesus.
Do they just play a didgeridoo when the baby comes out? They throw the baby and it comes back like a boomerang. All right, anyway, enough with the Australian stereotypes.
Jeez.
I'm sorry, I played way too much Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. That game is nothing but Australian stereotypes. But it was made by Australian people, so it's okay.
Yeah, three internet smarts on the podcast saying the ladies are working hard and we're making fun of them for giving birth to boomerangs.
Oh, man. Jiminy Christmas.
Anyways, my biggest complaint about these matches is that the wrestlers disappear for 4 to 5 minutes. Fuck you, AEW. Okay. There. See, I was laughing for a lot. Then I said, fuck you, AEW. Now I'm back to normal. I agree with you, Sean. Honestly, I agree with you. Disappearing for 4 to 5 minutes to sell a spot, at least they didn't peek over the side like AEW does, but it's still a long time, expected to believe that they're in agony for. Yeah, all this stuff with AEW, fuck you. Anyways, for her age, Roxanne Perez is very ring savvy. She does a lot of little things in between moves that help sell the moment. If she figures out what her identity is after the Prodigy, then she will undoubtedly be one of the best drawing women WWE has ever had if they decide to want to. The more things change, the more they stay the same with this company. Okay, Joshua, this next one's going to be fun.
Oh, no.
Rhea emerging from the ladder is like the second phase of a final boss in an RPG gave me a good chuckle. This turned into a full-blown laughter when Pat followed up with the Undertaker gif out the ladders. Also, let us now begin the debate regarding the correct pronunciation of the word GIF.
It is GIF.
It's GIF.
It is GIF. GIF is the peanut butter. I will fight you.
And it's also the correct pronunciation.
It is the incorrect pronunciation. It is gift, as in I gave you a Christmas gift. Here is your Christmas. Here is your Hanukkah gift.
Okay. Anyways, here's a fun game. Go back to the stare down between Rhea and Julia, and when Rhea is talking smack, voice over with Jabba the Hutt.
Why?
So Jabba the Hutt is giving birth to a boomerang.
Now I'm just imagining like a goth emo Jabba the Hutt, and I don't know how to feel about this visual in my brain.
See, we were horny before the show started. We were horny during the show, and now we're perfectly normal. Thank you, Sean. You killed my boner.
That's what he's good at.
There is quite the difference in color texture between the metal ladders and the wooden ladders that are sprayed painted to be metal. I care about stupid things. Yeah, it shows.
Yeah.
I mean,
we know, Sean. We know.
Yeah, we know you care about God. It's so stupid. If this is what the devil's kiss is like, then I'm open-mouthing Satan at the next CIW taping. I'm getting diabetes from all this cake and Satan to convert people using sweets. Also, while I'm at it, go subscribe to Colonial Impact Wrestling in the description.
Sean, we already paid off that entire storyline years ago. Just because Stephanie Vaquer makes you wetter than you've ever been before, wetter than Niagara Falls, that doesn't mean you have to resurrect a storyline you already paid off.
See, this is the thing, is that I knew this storyline existed, and I'm like, why would he bring it back up after it's been dead for a couple years? Jesus Christ.
Never forget that one video where I fought elves. and I was roided up
Yeah.
and in my underwear.
Yes, I did commentary for that. It was very fun. Stephanie Vaquer is mini Mammy, but with her own unique identity. I'm incredibly excited to see not only how over she is already, but also what she's capable of doing if the company remains as invested in her as they clearly seem. The Tandem Co-Red is once again a good idea for a spot that the execution was rather light and slow for the impact they wanted it for. Nobody's fault, it just happens. The finish of the match was fine. I do believe that Naomi does deserve the briefcase and will go out and will get a lot out of having it. This heel run of hers is partially cringe, partially funny, partially good, and as such deserves some gold around her waist. This also makes me think that Bianca is still a major factor in the women's championship scene, but we won't see it manifest for another year or so once Naomi's champion and Bianca finally gets her revenge for the betrayal. All in all, what I was dreading at first, I ultimately enjoyed by the end of it. Not everything was perfect, but considering that women's briefcase means more than the men's at this point, I enjoyed this. Well done. Okay. Before we get to the next match, do you want to know what Sean writes down next?
He wrote some strange stuff in parentheses from mine, so go right ahead.
JoshAgeddon does Dominic in the ass with a rusty cooking spoon.
I mean, how did he know? Like, tell him to stop spying on me. Some things I would rather keep private, Sean, like Dominic's privates. This is a weird fucking podcast.
Okay, I need a second. Hold on. That was a lot of notes. Jesus Christ, Sean.
So we're moving on to match 2 of the evening: Dominic Mysterio versus Octagon Jr. for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. This was, for me, this was my least favorite thing on the entire show. I didn't think it was bad. It was a TV match. It was just kind of there.
You know, Josh, again, after reading Sean's notes, I could use a smoke break. So I'm going to go ahead and take a smoke outside. And after I come back, the match is over.
Yeah. You didn't miss all that much other than the fact that Octagon Jr. is a person.
Here's the thing I will say. It is very cool that we have a AAA wrestler wrestling against Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship in WWE. If it were not for John Cena's heel turn and R-Truth becoming the most over person in WWE, that would be the story of the year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the bar for shocking things happening in WWE is so far high that this is unfortunately just not it.
Like, this match was fine. There wasn't anything, like, wrong with it. It's just that it kind of just happened and then it was over. And then we just moved on with our lives.
I do think that Octagon Jr., the fact that they gave him a match like this, I suspect he's going to be one of the first AAA people to make like the crossover to full-time WWE if he wants to.
I don't know, because like he's fine. I thought he was pretty good in the match on Worlds Collide. But the thing is, he's another Dragon Lee. You know what I mean?
The one thing also is that he hasn't won the world title in AAA yet, so maybe that could be something he does first.
Like, if Vikingo decides to jump ship, I can see him doing it and having some success with it because, for one, he's not wearing a mask, so you don't just immediately assume, oh, he's another luchador. And his moveset is way more insane than most luchadors. So whether or not me, you, and Sean like Vikingo, he has a better chance of potentially getting over in a big way on WWE. I don't really see that for Octagon Jr. He's just kind of another guy who's just there. He's not bad. He's just there. And this match was also kind of just there.
This does raise the possibility that AAA, like TNA before, it becomes a regional promotion that occasionally when they find a talent, they decide to feature them in WWE to see what they do and eventually sign them off to, again, be part of their roster. Joe Hendry, if he's not in WWE by the end of next year, I'd be shocked.
Me too. That's a dude that will very easily get over in WWE.
And Joe Hendry easily can be a person who can probably get to the level of probably upper mid-card to mid-card. He's definitely a future like U.S. or Intercontinental champion. World champion? Not sure, but you never know, right?
I doubt that he would go that far. Maybe the world title, not the WWE title, because that's basically the Super Intercontinental title. I can see him winning that one.
But the other thing, too, is that, like, this is the point with WWE and what they're doing is that they're acquiring these promotions and they're building up their roster and they're building up their developmental thing to farm talent. The one thing that WWE is going to do is they're going to copy the UFC because it's all the same company, and they're going to basically farm as much talent as possible to be part of their roster.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that these guys and girls, they kind of need to do is they need to get better at everything.
And another thing, acquiring all these different companies and territories, look at me turning into Sean for a second there, acquiring all these different companies is basically like, if there's someone that is lacking in one area, you can send them off to somewhere else, like TNA, so they can learn from other people there that's not quite WWE, but under WWE's supervision somewhat, and then come back when they get their shit figured out.
Or if they're not improving fast enough, they're just going to get cut.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of people were upset about the releases, but the releases, people, except for R-Truth and Carlito, which are their own specific cases, the rest of them were just prospects who weren't improving fast enough. And given the number of women that are signing, we didn't even mention Jordan Grace, who is probably at least some point going to be a mid-card champion in WWE.
Yeah.
And the women's division is growing up. The one person I kind of feel bad for is Cora Jade, because she's 23 and she had that really shitty injuries and the pregnancy thing that almost killed her. Like, I feel bad for her. But also, she could reinvent herself on the wrestling scene and come back to WWE at some point if she wants to.
Honestly, that was the thing that kind of killed it for Dakota Kai as well, is that she was just too injury prone.
Especially because Dakota Kai is not getting any younger, and there are going to be, again, more women that are younger, prettier, stronger, faster, smarter, better talkers are going to come up, and they're going to replace.
Yep. But don't tell the internet that, because firing people is mean.
WWE is a business.
Don't
the
tell
business
the
is
internet
there to make money. People come and go. The fact that the fans and the wrestlers themselves have forgotten this means that none of them have been around the actual wrestling business. I was never there for wrestling in the territory days, but this is what the territory days, according to Jim Cornette and the veterans that used to be around that era, say what it was like. And that's okay. You go from company to company. You're expected to do that.
And me and Sean discussed this on the most recent episode of the Court-Martail podcast. It's not even a wrestling specific thing. It is any business does this. Like, there is turnover in every business. It's how you can't just keep the same people forever and expect, you to make money.
Here's the thing I'm going to say right now. I am currently 30 years old, and I started working about 10 years ago when I was 20 in college, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've had 6 jobs in my life. No, actually, I've had 10. Yeah, 10 jobs in my lifetime since I was working since I think I was 17, actually. I've had a lot of jobs and a lot of employers. I've moved around because opportunity or this or that, or I got fired. We're not going to talk about that. But the point is that I moved around because I tried to find something better, something that suited my needs or something that gave me something that was better than the other company, whether it was more money, more time, closer to home, whatever. Joshua, how many jobs have you had?
Let's see. Walmart, shoe department, Dollar General, Dollar Tree, Dollar General again, Ross, Pizza Hut. I've had about 7, 8 jobs, maybe 9.
In about 10 years, right?
Yeah.
The thing is that the people who have enjoyed long careers in one place, that's a rarity nowadays.
Yeah.
And there's not as many of those as you think there are. The average job in America, at least by workers employed, it's about 12 months.
When I got fired from Dollar General, like, the reasons why I got fired, I thought were kind of suspect. And I still think that one of the reasons why they got rid of me is because I had been there for so long. Like, I was there for like a year and a half. And again, the reasons they got rid of me I felt were kind of bullshit. And the real reason is they wanted to replace me with somebody else because I had been there for a year and a half. So.
And they wanted to replace you probably with somebody that was cheaper.
Probably.
I mean, and also, you didn't want to be promoted. You didn't want to go up higher, which is fine.
Like,
But that's kind of the point, is that they're looking to elevate people.
Was I upset about it at first? Yeah, no one likes to be fired. But I didn't start a "We Want Joshua" campaign directed at Dollar General because I'm not an idiot.
Well, professional wrestling is weird.
Yeah.
It's the fans. Look, the fans make the sport, mostly because you guys pay for everything.
Yeah. But again, as me and Sean discussed in the previous podcast on this Court-Martail podcast, which you should all go listen to, by the way, a lot of wrestling fans make wrestling their entire personality, and they have nothing else besides wrestling, so they attach themselves to wrestlers a little too tightly and have complete and utter psychotic breakdowns whenever either the company goes into a little bit of a lull after a high period or their favorite gets released.
But anyways, the whole thing is that the whole Octagon match, it's a showcase match.
Yeah.
If he improves in a year or two, maybe he wins the AAA world title. Maybe he goes to WWE in a year or two after that. You never know, right?
Yeah.
The wrestling scene is very changed now because all these companies are getting under one of two umbrellas. And you either pick the right side or the wrong side. But the whole thing at the end of the day is that WWE is a business. It's going to keep going forward. It's going to keep going. And most importantly, it's going to keep getting new talent in, old talent out, recycling, this and that. At the end of the day, your shills are still going to pay for it. So shut up, sheep.
And even more importantly than that, they're going to find even more things to put a logo and a "Buy This Product" sticker on. CM Punk Pepsi labeled arm tape. They're going to trademark the word "freakin'" and tattoo it to Seth Rollins' back. And they're also going to tattoo either the little TM at the top of "freakin' or the registered logo. They will at some point tattoo logos to people's skin.
So,
Real
do you want to know, by the way, do you want to know a spoiler?
Sure.
Since we're talking about Monday Night Raw.
Yes.
We have a match at Night of Champions.
Oh, boy.
John Cena versus CM Punk.
Excuse me, what?
John Cena versus CM Punk. Night of Champions.
Huh.
In Saudi Arabia.
I'm confused. I mean,
yes.
I mean, obviously they're going to be doing Cody Rhodes and John Cena at SummerSlam. Okay. Since they're likely doing Cody and Cena at SummerSlam, and they
Night of Champions is June 28th.
And yeah, and they obviously do want to have a Cena Punk match where Cena's the heel and Punk is the babyface. So I guess
here's my thing. Are we not just doing the Randy Orton play the best hit but find a way to screw the match at the end thing?
Yeah, but I mean, I guess I can't really get annoyed with that. I mean, I would love for that to be a match at a bigger show and not in Saudi Arabia. But
Joshua.
Yeah.
The thing on Wikipedia, the entry for this match is John Cena versus El Grande Americano.
Sure.
Forget CM Punk. That's the match I really want.
But they're both heels.
In Saudi Arabia, John Cena's a babyface.
I don't
because he's a misogynistic pig.
I don't know how to respond to these accusations, Skylar, but anyway, so this matchup between Dominic Mysterio and Octagon Jr. was fine.
Yeah, read Sean's notes so we can move on.
Would you like to know what Sean had to say about this match, Skylar?
Sure, let's hear what the 35-year-old has to say. Actually, I don't even think he's 35. I think he's 33.
He's 30-something.
He's somewhere in the 30s.
Yes. The Intercontinent... I don't know. He broke up the syllables for some reason. Championship, Dominic Mysterio versus Octagon Jr. All right. I remember watching this guy when he was just Heptagon Jr. Get it? Because heptagon is 7-sided and octagon is... Okay. I'm impressed that I still feel invested in Liv Morgan considering the year she had last year. She's found a way to make herself more interesting so that I can actually enjoy when she's on my television. Anything can happen in WWE, and honestly, I'm proud of her for coming this far. Sorry, Joshua. I know this is likely hurting you to say this with every molecule of your essence, but it was Liv Morgan's birthday yesterday, so you have to be nice, otherwise you'll get a spanking. And I promise you won't feel as pleasant as the previous ones I've given you, pulls out a rabbit mask and sews it onto his own skull. That went places.
Okay, so yeah, all three of us are horny. Okay, yeah.
So we're back to being horny again. This podcast is basically turning into a very elaborate and strange hot or not challenge. If you defeated Penta and then climbed 3 levels in Tower of Doom, you'd find Octagon Jr. I feel like that's a Mortal Kombat. Yes, it is a Mortal Kombat because the very next the very next bullet. I knew I recognized this dude. Welcome back, Kalisto.
Oh, fuck you.
The worst part is I gave the Lucha House Party a shout out on my Worlds Collide review, and I hated doing it, but Corey Graves mentioned it, and I had to say something about it. So, fuck you, Corey Graves, and fuck you, Sean. I get the feeling you'll be pushed better as a Mortal Kombat ninja than you did as yet another attempt at Rey Mysterio. Say, you don't have an affinity for Elmo by any chance, do you? Dear God. We start with speed. Lots of speed. It's no surprise given why they're even doing this. And not WWE speed because this was on a Saturday and not a Wednesday.
Although the match was hardly any longer than a WWE speed match.
You're not wrong. Dominic is insanely over, and the second he took over with the testicular torture, the match slowed down and the crowd went wild. He's come so incredibly far in such a short time. Okay, we're going to get to it later. One of the things I loved about the men's Money in the Bank ladder match is they finally pulled the trigger on Jacob Fatu. I'm still waiting for them to pull the trigger and turn Dom babyface and get him away from Finn Balor so they can have their Intercontinental title feud and get it over with. Triple H, I love you and all, but you have got to stop with this Arctic, like glacial speed booking of some of these feuds. There is slow burn, and
it's gonna happen at Mania. Sorry, not Mania. SummerSlam.
No, you're probably right. The Dominic Mysterio Finn Balor breakup and feud at this point will definitely happen at WrestleMania 43. The corkscrew arm drag looked pretty, but that's a lot of extra movement for just an arm drag. That's a very Magnation reference right there. Dominic hits a beautiful tilt-a-whirl Michinoku driver, but speaking of Michin, how's Mia Yim doing these days? Dominic won, which is no surprise. I'm glad they found a way to put the IC title on pay-per-view, and this match didn't need to be anything more than it was. It served its purpose well and didn't overstay its welcome. Skyler fucks bird people and spits feathers out of his urethra. Is this true?
Just because I'm talking to a Catholic girl does not mean that she wears bird feathers.
Skyler, I want you to tar and feather me with your urethra.
So I'm assuming we're talking about the women's Intercontinental title match now.
How did you know?
I hate Lyra Valkyria's gimmick.
Your disdain is giving me life right now.
This is so goddamn stupid. Bird feathers aside, I actually like this match better than their one at the last pay-per-view.
All right, so up next, we had Lyra Valkyria defending the Intercontinental Championship of the Women variety against Becky Lynch.
No. You have to say like Sean, the Intercontinental.
I'm not breaking up the syllables for no reason because Sean's just weird. He just asked you to shoot feathers out of your urethra. You really want to give him command over syllables?
You don't know where I'm coming from, JoshAgeddon. Yeah, you see it, Money in the Bank for the Intercontinental Championship. Yeah, once I'm done taking both of you out, feathers coming out of your pee hole's gonna be the last of your worries.
Yeah, that's true.
This was my favorite thing on the entire show. I thought this match, and on Worlds Collide as well, This was my favorite thing on both shows. This was a fantastic match.
Yeah, this, to be honest, this is kind of the make or break match that Lyra Valkyria needed to have.
Yeah, because they had a really good match at Backlash, although it did go a little long. This was way better than their Backlash match, and their Backlash match was already pretty good.
Yes, but the reason why I say it was the make or break is that I need to see more out of Lyra to really. They clearly believe in her a lot. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, she wouldn't have gotten last year at the finals of the Women's Queen of the Ring. She wouldn't have gotten the first Intercontinental Championship. She wouldn't have gotten all the accolades. Like, they clearly see her as being like a future, maybe even top woman, winning one of the world titles at some point. Mm-hmm. I didn't see it because, to be honest, she's not very interesting as a promo. And I know that she's had good matches in NXT. I've seen them. But
how much Raw have you been watching as of late?
I've watched some Raw here and there. I like what Lyra's been doing, but the biggest and brightest stages is where you have to have your best performances. And I thought the Backlash match, it was awkward. I don't know why it was awkward. Maybe it's just rustiness on Becky's part. Maybe just because Lyra wasn't ready for it. But this match was so good.
Yes, it was. And honestly, I loved the way this started off because the previous matches started off like regular matches, but these two were in a heated feud. Becky did not wait for the entrances, which I bet that pleased Sean to no end. By the way, Alicia Taylor still sucks, and her hair is ridiculous, and I hate it. This got off to a hot start, and there was an ebb and a flow, but they kept the crowd was into this from start to finish. And they did a very good job as far as this was a very well put together match.
They had the match technicality to have a solid and fluid match, mm-hmm. and the energy of I'm gonna kill this fucking bitch.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it felt like two people that legit wanted to beat the shit out of each other.
And they did beat the ever loving shit out of each other. Mm-hmm. And again, I know I've been harping on Becky Lynch and her lack of muscle definition lately. But she's still a really, really good wrestler. Mm-hmm. It's just, again, I need both of them to really pull out the dog, and they pulled out a dog.
Or not a bird dog. They were bird dogging in this match. That is a deep cut. That is a full frontal laceration right there of a reference.
Okay, I'm gonna need another smoke break while I'm processing that deep cut. Jesus Christ, I'm gonna run out of my fucking blunts by the end of this show.
But yeah, like, just some of the spots in this match, like, I loved that leg drop on the barricade on the outside from the announce table. That was business. And there was very little margin for error for that because they've been, over the past year or so, they've been putting whatever championship they're fighting for on a pedestal next to the ring, which I really like that. I'm glad they started doing that. But the problem was there was not enough space, honestly, to be able to do this move, but Lyra still managed to pull it out. And also, just a little thing about Lyra that I can tell she's improving. There's this one move that she does, that always kind of looks good, kind of looks weak. It's that really snap gut wrench powerbomb that she's been doing. It looked really,
I know the one.
Yeah, it looked really good in this match. She actually picked her up this time and dropped her in it. I was like, well, that looked actually effective. So,
and not like the one at Backlash where it kind of looked like Becky helped get up for her. Lyra kind of picked her up.
I think my problem with her, that little gut wrench sit-out powerbomb, is she just does it too fast. But this time she actually gave it enough of a split second to breathe.
Yes, take your time, slow down, do what you got to do.
Also,
make it look good.
Also, when she went for that second leg drop in the ring, Becky catching her in midair with that powerbomb, that was straight up business.
So much business, Shelton Benjamin got jealous.
Yeah. But this match was great. We can go spot for spot, this entire thing, but I will say, the manhandle slam still sucks as a move.
How many of them did we get in this match?
Just 2, but one was a Superman handle slam.
And I hated it even more.
Yeah, still not a big fan of that one, Becky. But the way they sold Lyra kicking out of it was great. And one thing that Lyra did in this match that I loved is when Becky did this butterfly suplex into a cross armbar, the look of fear and panic in Lyra's eyes when she was trying to get out, that was so... Her, and even the commentators were like, her eyes are bugging out of her head trying to get out of this move. That was great. Lyra's starting to pick up on the little
broke her arm, so,
yeah.
I'm sure she didn't want to get broken again.
I think it was more that she was like, oh god, I'm in this move, and if I tap, I have to raise this woman's hand, and I don't want to do that.
And also, it was the move that Becky attacked her with after their last match.
Yeah, Lyra is improving. I love Lyra Valkyria. I've liked her ever since I first saw her.
Since you were a little girl?
Ever since I was a little girl, I've liked Lyra Valkyria. But I will say,
Okay, very, very appropriate you said that for Pride Month.
Shut the fuck up. Also, I also agree she needs to drop the bird thing. Like...
What, you don't like girl birds?
Well, I the only kind of birds I like are bird dogs, and we already talked about that. But I get it. It's some kind of Irish thing that means war and fighting, and that's cool and all. It looks...
Wait, hold on. Isn't she Scottish?
I think she's Irish.
All you UK people are the same. Just be one country, please. She's Irish.
Oh, okay, so I was correct.
See, I can't get my Irish from my Scotlands to my Northern Irelands, which is a whole other weird thing.
Those freaking crackers and their different continents, how dare they? And I may have never... And I'm white, so I can say the C word.
Why did you call them crackers?
You're right, they're Irish, they're potatoes.
Fuck you.
You know what? You don't like it? Find me at the pub. We'll have a good old-fashioned Donnybrook. We'll invite Seamus.
Seamus is gonna kick you into tomorrow. He's gonna come right through the door right now, grab you and punch you in the head.
I will go give a lobster head. This podcast is so stupid. But anyway.
All the people from the UK are potatoes and crap. Not even fish and chips, just...
Oh, man. Lord have mercy. So, even though... I will say, again... Okay. I liked the spot where they did the finishers on the outside and they got in at the 9 count. Although, I will say... It was a teeny tiny bit contrived where they were dead. They were deceased. Their spirits had left the building. Until the referee said 9, then all of a sudden they got into the ring like Sonic the Hedgehog.
You gotta go fast.
No, you don't. Actually, you see, the trick is you start to stir around the 6 and 7, you get up at 8 and stumble, and then you get in at 9. You're not deceased, like dead, ready to go to the frickin' morgue until 9, then all of a sudden you jump into the ring and then you're fine. That's just a little nitpick of mine. I wish they would clean that up.
It's WWE, it's what they do.
I know, but there are some people that do the 9 count thing better, and Lyra and Becky just aren't one of those people. I feel like we've had this complaint with Becky Lynch before as far as the 9 counts are concerned.
Yes, because it's always in Becky Lynch matches. She did in the one with Bianca. She did in the one with Bayley. She does it all the time. It's one of the Becky Lynch spots.
The one with Bianca is the one I was thinking about because that annoyed me in that match as well. But anyway,
that's the biggest, like, oh my god, what the fuck?
Like, it didn't, like, kill the mood or the match or anything. It's just one of those things where, like, I wouldn't have done it that way. But
no, it took you out of the match, and that's what this did too.
It didn't take me out of the match. It's just something I would have done a little bit differently. Like, it was fine. It's not like what would have killed the match is if they forgot to get in, and the referee had to deliberately hold up the count, like, get in the ring, and they made it very obvious that they weren't supposed to get counted out at that point, that would have killed.
Well, he almost did.
They were cutting it close, but anyway, so we get into the finish, and a lot of people thought the finish of this was anticlimactic. I thought it was perfect for what they were going for. So they do the whole 1, 2, whoa! 1, 2, whoa! And Becky, the idea was that she was going to grab the tights. In reality, she grabbed Lyra's ass and pulled her ass for the 1, 2, 3, which... Is it cheating if you pull someone's ass?
Depends on how hard you pull.
What if you're like pulling their ass hair? Does Lyra does Lyra have thick, plump Irish butt hair? We should ask her nerdy-looking boyfriend. Oh no, I've killed Skylar. Oh man.
Jesus Christ.
So Nerdy McNerdson, when you pluck those feathers, how many feathers do you pluck, and how big are said feathers? Also, do the curtains match the feathers?
2 birds even have feathers in there.
Sorry, editor just peeking in here. What the fuck did you just say? Hey, you know what? Never mind. Just keep going.
Oh no, this is so Becky retained. We're moving on.
Wait, Becky won the title.
Yeah, she finally won a singles championship. You know, this is the first singles match she's won on TV since like early last year.
Yeah, and as her prize, she got Lyra Valkyria to put the belt on her, lift her arm to all the sides of the ring. And then Lyra finally German suplexed her right on her fucking head.
Yeah, and then gave her a another Nightwing, and then stormed out. This was my favorite thing on the show. I thought this was great. This is
run it back.
Yes.
Run it back. Street fight.
This is exactly what Lyra needed.
Yep. Oh.
Now that you have regained yourself, what does Sean have to say about this gripping contest? And by gripping, I mean someone was trying to grip some feathers. It was a feather in Becky's cap.
Stop.
And I'm not even capping, fam. That shit was lit low key.
Stop it. Hold on. I need to slow down. Think of an AEW match. Okay, I'm calm now. I got a bit crotchety the other day regarding this stipulation. While I definitely agree they need an added layer, the whole "you can't fight me while I'm champion" or "acknowledge me" piece of this seemed very tired and played out. It was only when Skylar called me on my bullshit that I realized I had no alternative in mind for this match. And considering I haven't watched the TV, I have no idea how personal the feud has gotten up to this point. It also occurs to me that the reason I felt it was played out is that TAW and CIW have been using that stipulation to great effect for over a decade, and seeing WWE imitate it without a royalty check in the mail bothered me. Here's my question for you, Joshua.
Okay.
When's the last time you did that stipulation?
I've never done a winner raises the... if I beat you, you have to raise my hand. I've never done that stipulation, but the last time I did a... if you lose, you can't challenge for this championship for as long as this person has it. I did that earlier this year with Vegeta and Liu Kang.
Okay, so you've done it recently.
But I don't do it as often as Sean is suggesting. I know when to pick and choose my spots, good sir.
Well, maybe when you were an earlier booker.
Perhaps, but 2017 to 2014 TAW is a no-go zone, and I just pretend that I started in 2018 and I knew what the fuck I was doing, and we don't have to talk about the dark days.
Hey, you gotta fuck up before you do great. Thank you to the Wi-Fi at my job for making sure I got to see this matchup in the exhilarating and crystal clear 144p. Sometimes Lyra would flap her wings and I got up to 240. High quality. Oh, God. Maybe Lyra needs new gear that doesn't disconnect at the base of the neck so she wouldn't have to be worried about exposing her Why do you give me the tough words to say? Tuft to mice.
You know, I forgot about that. Lyra needs to find just wear the same kind of bras that the other ladies wear, because she has the same exact wardrobe malfunction every match.
Oh, a tit moves to the bird. I'm making bird jokes.
Hello, this is Earl from the Ornithological Society. The correct pronunciation is that bird's name is a tufted titmouse, or in plural, tufted titmice. Here's a picture. We will now return you to your poorly read notes.
And also, the next bullet point is ... boobs.
Thank you, Sean.
Hey, Lyra Valkyria realizes that if she gets fired by WWE, she has to start her OnlyFans. She's just getting early with it.
I don't want to imagine a Lyra Valkyria bird-themed OnlyFans. Only feathers.
Yeah, she's going to have her boyfriend pull her ass hairs out.
No, not her ass hair, her ass feathers. We've been through this. We've already established this is canon.
Oh, God. Becky Lynch looks like she's one fedora away from joining a mafia family. Is Becky going to take care of Lyra or take care of Lyra? I'd love to hear Becky try an I'll tell you mobster gimmick accent.
They're already trying that with someone in NXT, and I hate it.
You don't like the Tony Stacks and Tony Angelo family?
It is every bit as hokey and cheesy and corny as the whole Chase U thing, and I'm good.
I don't have a ton to say about this match, as it's a Becky Lynch match. That Spike DT was sold beautifully by Lyra, but it was at this point where my eyes glazed a bit, and I started counting the different advertisers strewn above the ring, the turnbuckles, ringside, some random front row bald man's forehead. Anywhere there was any space at all to drop a sponsor, they've done it. I hate to say it, but I do miss Vince's policy of a clean mat. Lyra's scorpion toe hold, the Falcon's talon perhaps, was unique, and I'd like to see her utilize it to more effect. It could end up being a visible submission finish for her if she can figure out how and when to execute it. Lyra using Becky's leg drop on the outside was a nice touch. Not sure why Jessica Card didn't start the count to 10 when both women were down for a good chunk of time after that powerbomb. We want Truth Chance begin to break out. Don't worry, LA, you'll get him soon enough. In all capital letters, manhandle slam from the top rope, false finish at the crowd hooked. LA really got behind this match and began to really get behind Valkyria. Once this happened, I finally heard Let's Go Lyra chants instead of just dueling Becky chants. It's taken some time, but it's beginning to come together for Lyra. I absolutely hate when both wrestlers are outside the ring selling, then pop up like the Manchurian Candidate once the referee's count hits 9. It was stupid when they started doing it 15 years ago, and it's stupid now. Becky rolling up Lyra was the best with the tights. No, it wasn't the tights. It was the ass.
It was the ass feathers.
Was probably the best finish they could do if they wanted Becky as champ. It gives Lyra a viable out and continues the narrative that Becky can't beat Lyra cleanly. This ultimately will lead to a blow-off SummerSlam match between these two, and I'm here for it. These two have good chemistry, and I look forward to seeing how they're doing it. Now move along. And Joshua drinks Monster. Did you know that, Skylar? The question is, how many monsters?
I'm actually cutting down on them because I like feeling healthy. What I'm doing, basically, this might be a startling revelation for the subscribers here at TAW Gaming. I'm cutting down to where I'm only having one monster on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Are you okay, man?
That's the point. I want to have kidneys. And maybe one day I'll even have grand kidneys.
See, I'm glad you took my advice about taking so many monsters. You can do it in your 20s, but once you get to your 30s, it's over.
Yeah. Your kidneys will pack up their bags and leave for smokes, and then when they get back, the Dominic Mysterio Octagon Jr. match will be over with, and they will have missed all of it.
Yep. Now it's time for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match.
All right. I feel like this is absolutely we're going to have massive divergence of opinion. This was my second favorite thing on the show. I very much enjoyed this match.
The men's Money in the Bank ladder match was good, but I was disappointed because Seth Rollins didn't wear a goofy outfit.
Okay, his whatever
he just wore a bathrobe, a really big bathrobe.
It looked like You remember that one time that Lady Gaga wore a meat suit?
No, it wasn't even that. It wasn't even that outrageous.
It looked like a weird meat suit-ish kind of trench coat thing.
It looked like his trench coat got its pussy stuffed. It looked like it got stretched out by a really big black cock.
Boy, what's wrong with you?
Okay, now I officially have made it weird.
Oh boy, okay. I don't know how to respond to that.
Because what Skylar said next was too foul, we had to cut it out, and instead we're going to ask you to subscribe to Super Jam Session V2 as well as TAW Gaming. It's a good time there, and if you haven't subscribed here, the hell you waiting for?
If I'm able to put ads on this video, I will be stunned. But anyway, so enough of the.
You just play the Pornhub video sound.
Shut the fuck up.
I would prefer us talk about this lovely little match that I loved, and I'm sure you and Sean both loved it as well. And we'll all peacefully coexist as a nice little trio of wrestling podcasters that love all things wrestling and totally...
Not AEW. Not AEW.
Yeah, fuck AEW. And totally have just perfect harmony and unison and holy matrimony as far as wrestling opinions are concerned, especially when it comes to multi-man ladder matches that involve...
No, fuck your opinions.
That involve Andrade.
No, fuck your opinions.
But yeah, I very much enjoyed this match. I will say one of the main reasons why I enjoyed this so much is, again, I talked about it earlier. They finally pulled the trigger on Jacob Fatu leaving Solo Sikoa to fully turn babyface.
Yeah, I mean they could wait on this one too, but they decided not to, and thankfully they didn't.
No. They've been waiting on this one. Like it has taken, because again, you and Sean don't watch all that much SmackDown. I do. They have been teasing this, and teasing this, and teasing this. Have I mentioned that they've been teasing this yet? Forever!
Yes, they...
Like, my God, Triple H. I understand that it's a good thing to slow burn some stuff every once in a while. But sometimes it helps to throw a little bit of gas on that fire. Every once in a while. Sean is not wrong when he says this is basically a dairy factory at this point.
Well, yeah. I mean, but WWE, it's what you're going to do at this point.
Like, I like Triple H as a booker, and I like the product as of right now, even though it's been in a little bit of a lull. But God, some of these stories move at the speed of a snail.
But let's be honest, okay? And we can take a second to do this quick rant, and then we can move back to the match.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, no matter who is the booker of any company, unless you are the person that you are booking, you're not going to book for every single person's exact likes 100%. Every show is going to be different. Every wrestler is going to be different. Despite the fact that there's one wrestler in this match I don't like, I still like the match. Is it a bad thing? No. It just means that they're trying to book to capture the widest audience as possible and tell as many stories as possible. Wrestling fans, understand this and shut up, please.
Yeah. Wrestling fans, me and Sean, I'm going to be putting over this podcast that me and Sean did about a week ago. Wrestling fans have been so unhinged this year. It's like the lull that WWE is experiencing is breaking people's brains. Something that wrestling fans need to understand. This is not your company. Full stop. Are you helping pay the bills? Sure. But this company is not booked specifically for you. So, but again, you're talking to someone who literally got sick of it yesterday, and I deleted the X app on my phone. I didn't delete my account because I still want to peddle my YouTube videos. But, yeah.
But we're getting to that point. Trust me.
Oh, yeah.
Just screw social media in general.
Yeah, it may or may not have been a colossal mistake.
Well, everything is with humanity at this point, but what can you do?
nihilism and misanthropy aside, we can talk about this wonderful little ladder match. So, your thoughts on this ladder match?
The thing I will... These boys were trying to kill each other.
Yeah, basically, they were trying to murder each other.
Yeah, including a spot where Chad Gable... El Grande Americano. I mean, they look so similar.
Not their nipples.
He got a ladder right to the dip.
Yeah.
Like, they full up just threw the ladder right into his dick.
Yeah, Andrade, much to Sean's delight, probably, got a ladder right to the penis. I bet that hurt. And Wade Barrett even was like, oh, poor Andrade.
Yeah, these boys, again, and even the people that were interfering in this match was crazy. This was off the rails. Everybody's probably hurting. I don't know how Seth Rollins survived that powerbomb into the ladder.
I don't know how he survived that suplex off the ladder into the ladder where he kind of missed the ladder and Penta got the center of the ladder, so I'm sure he was fine. Seth bounced off the corner and I was like, oh God.
Yeah, I don't want to kill Seth Rollins. I love CrossFit Jesus, please.
Yeah, can we not, Seth?
I want to see more goofy outfits. I want to see him dress up like a one-episode villain from Dragon Ball Z.
I want to see what he and his heel faction that has yet to be named. Their faction name is TBD, to be determined. I want to see what they do next on Raw. Probably what is happening right now as we speak, but I have no idea. And Skylar will likely spoil it for me as this podcast rolls on.
Well, when John Cena and CM Punk announced their match, Seth Rollins came out and walked out with the Money in the Bank briefcase, walking around them.
One thing that I did, I mentioned it briefly. This was my favorite commentary moment of the night.
Go ahead. I know what you're talking about.
And Michael Cole arguing about Chad Gable and El Grande Americano's nipples. I need a buddy cop movie where Michael Cole and Wade Barrett solve a mystery about another man's nipples. Where, like, someone has been falsely accused of murder, and the only way to correctly identify the actual murderer has to do with the size and shape, maybe even the color of a pair of titties. Man titties. I need this now injected into my veins. I was laughing so fucking hard at that.
And speaking of horniness.
Yeah.
Listen, people. Just go out there. If you want to solve all your world problems, just touch some grass, okay?
And like you said, there was some crazy ass bumps in this match.
I mean, that spear that Braun Breaker gave was just...
The spear was great, although Lee Fitting, need to work on your timing as far as camera cuts are concerned just a little bit there, bud.
Braun Breaker was moving too fast for him to cut correctly.
It was like in Dragon Ball Z when Goku and Cell are fighting during the Cell games and the cameraman can't keep up and all you just see is wind blowing around.
But I mean, Braun Breaker, he has the best spear maybe ever in WWE.
I damn near ejaculated when Jacob Fatu gave Bronson Reed that pop-up Samoan drop. Like... Physiologically, how?
Jacob Fatu is just him.
That was so insane.
I know Seth Rollins won this match, but you could make the argument that Jacob Fatu should have won this.
Honestly, he could have pulled the Brock Lesnar. I'm not in this match, but now I am. Sorry, Mustafa Ali. Down to TNA you go. But also, another thing about this match that I thought was very entertaining. I am starting to enjoy Solo Sikoa just being goofy. His facial expressions and him just stealing other people's taunts and shit is so funny.
Remember when he had no personality? Now he has all the personality.
Now he's absorbing everyone else's, and it's great.
He took all the personality out of Andrade. Oh wait, there wasn't anything there to begin with.
Yeah. And I know that we're on. Okay, all of us are kind of sick and tired of this concept, Money in the Bank in general. But this match in particular, I just thought it was fun. I thought it was all I wanted was a fun car crash, and I got a fun car crash. And also the Canadian destroyer or the Mexican destroyer that Penta gave Andrade on the ladder bridge was also insane. And I knew before the show even started, Penta's probably going to try to do a Mexican destroyer on a ladder at some point. And
he did, and it was wonderful.
It was horrifying, but I'm glad no one died.
The regard of will, the lack of survival, this was amazing. And this is why, yes, it happens only once a year. Who cares? It's fun.
Yeah, it was a fun match. A lot of people were upset about the finish, though. Now, on one hand, I totally get it. The person I wanted to win this match the most was LA Knight. And the fact that he did not makes me very concerned about LA Knight. Even
in LA of all places.
Yeah, in LA of all places. This was not LA's night.
Yeah, it's like an NWL booking show.
Yeah. Yeah! But at the same time, while I do think this was the moment to put it on LA Knight, I'm not gonna lie. I don't hate LA Knight. And even though I just said that I wanted him to win this match, but basically because he just needs something at this point. I don't really get the hype that he has with a lot of people. Like, he's fine in the ring, and he's fine on promos. It just, nothing he does really stands out to me personally.
Okay, let me put it to you this way, Joshua. He's a better talking, better looking Jey Uso.
Okay, even then I feel like that's selling him short because most people are a better talker than Jey Uso.
But that's the problem, is that LA Knight isn't a company that Jey Uso is also in and is doing the exact same gimmick that LA Knight's doing.
Just with two different letters.
Yeah, and that's the problem, is that you have Yeah and Yeet going back and forth, but the problem is that Yeet has a better entrance, and also because of France. Because of one show in... See, thank you, French people. You screwed it up.
Also, LA Knight, unfortunately, is not Samoan.
Yeah,
And
that's
LA
also
Knight,
too.
And
that's the other thing, too, that happened out of this show, is that the wrestling fans really want LA Knight to win the world title, and he hasn't, and they're disappointed.
Yeah.
If anything, though, the sympathy might help. It may put people behind him even more. I mean, that's how he got over in the first place, that people recognized, man, this dude is talented. Why aren't they giving him a chance? And then they gave him a chance, and people loved him, and they still love him, and they want him to do more. And he's not doing more, and they're angry about it, and they want to get behind him. If this is the long-term game with LA Knight, then yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. They need, for one, if they're doing a draft soon, which I've heard rumblings that they are, they need to get him off of SmackDown. They need to move him to Raw, just for like a fresh canvas for him to wrestle around in.
He needs to be on the brand that has the World Heavyweight Championship, because he has a better chance of winning that title than the WWE Championship.
Absolutely. I can totally see him holding the belt that Jey Uso has right now. I can't see him holding the John Cena belt.
And the thing is that he's not going to beat Jey Uso for that belt, but he has a good chance of beating the guy that beats Jey Uso for that belt.
He could beat Seth Rollins. Because we all know
Or
Seth
Gunther,
Rollins is like,
or Gunther.
Or Gunther, whoever ends up taking the title from Jey Uso. But...
Because most likely going to be one of those two guys.
But my thing is, Seth winning this match, while it is disappointing if you're a huge LA Knight mega fan of the mega star, in my opinion, to me, again, I've been watching all of the shows, Seth Rollins winning this match made all of the sense in the world.
This was the time where it's not the most exciting winner, but it's the correct winner.
Yes, agreed. Because Seth just established this new heel faction that is on the top of Monday Night Raw. He needs some credibility. Seth Rollins needs credibility, of course. He's Teflon at this point. But at the same time, you had him win the main event of WrestleMania. You had him form this new heel group. You need to give him something to make him even more threatening. And Money in the Bank thrives on the threat of the cash-in. So this
and it works for the heel, not for the babyface, and LA Knight is not turning heel anytime soon.
Not in anytime soon. So while I do understand the disappointment with LA Knight losing, and I kind of felt that a little bit, even though I don't really care about LA Knight in particular, he's just kind of to me. But them going with Seth, in my opinion, was the correct move.
And again, LA Knight still has a chance. Like, there are still going to be opportunities for him to be the guy.
He just needs to get off SmackDown.
He needs to get off SmackDown, but he also needs to get into a situation where he has someone that he can credibly have a chance against.
Yeah. Yeah, him and the WWE title, that ain't happening.
And that's why they have the Super Intercontinental Championship, so they can give a world title without giving the world title.
Yeah, give him the Super Intercontinental title. So with all of that said, would you like to hear Sean's opinion of this match, which I'm sure he loved with all of his heart, especially whenever Andrade was on screen?
Yeah.
Match 4.
Yeah.
Match 4. Oh, of course he gave me match 4. Fuck you, Sean. Men's Money in the Bank. Seth Rollins, get it? Versus LA Knight versus Solo Sikoa versus Andrade versus Penta versus El Grande Americano. It pains me to see how over LA Knight is, especially here in LA. The reason it hurts me is that by the end of the match, the realization hit me that this is as far as we're ever seeing LA Knight climb in WWE. They had an opportunity with him in 2023, but the arrival of so many other major stars pushed him down the ladder. To see that it hasn't affected his popularity is definitely a testament to him, but I'm afraid that the company will never back LA Knight to a world title scene that, in my eyes, he should have been in long before now. Maybe that'll change in the coming months, but I'm not very optimistic for one of my favorite wrestlers of the modern era.
Again, I agree with the sentiment that it sucks that he lost this match, but there's still the opportunity. I don't think he's going to retire anytime soon. He makes way too much money for WWE to release, and right now he's in the prime of his career. He has a chance.
Again, we litigated it several times over the past several minutes. He needs a fresh change of scenery, and he needs to go after a title that he can realistically win.
And there will be titles for him to have a chance to win. There are going to be times where he's going to have a chance.
Yeah, but I can totally understand how this would be frustrating for someone who's a big fan of LA Knight. Because as someone who's not a fan of LA Knight, not that I don't hate the guy. He's just kind of in the middle for me. It was disappointing for me to see him lose because again, I was kind of one of those make or break, like how this night was make or break for Lyra Valkyria. This was also one of those make or break, push or don't push moments for LA Knight, and I don't know how many more of these he's going to have. Because
the other thing too that we have to say right now is that not every great wrestler is going to win the world title, and unfortunately, that's just how it is.
Yeah, but another thing, LA Knight's lost a lot of matches, especially this year. I don't know how many more losses he can realistically tolerate.
And that's kind of the thing is that like WWE is in such a competitive place right now. Nobody's spot is guaranteed. Even Cody Rhodes' spot is not guaranteed.
That is true.
Because somebody could take over his spot at some point.
Yeah, that is true. The sooner they can get Andrade onto AAA and off main roster programming, the better. He's mediocre in the ring. I disagree with that. Look at his kick that had no choice but to turn into a back elbow. Bland to downright abysmal as a personality. I do agree with that. And at this stage, without Charlotte to politic him into a job, he serves no purpose here. Matter of fact, put Zelina Vega there, too, because they're effectively the same person. I vehemently disagree with that. Zelina can't wrestle, Andrade can. And just because he had one sloppy-looking elbow in a match, like, I watch SmackDown, and you don't. More often than not, that elbow looks very solid. So, I don't know why he's got such a seething, venomous hatred for Andrade all of a sudden. It just feels like Sean hasn't had a singular person of intense hatred in a long while, and he's going through singular person of hatred withdrawal, and Andrade screwed up one spinning elbow, and he's like, You are the object of my ire. How dare you be you? I need to yell at somebody, and that just happens to be you. It's like whenever they're like, we're doing an open championship for an open challenge for a championship, and the first person I see walking backstage, that person's going to be your challenge. It's like Sean's like, the first person I see backstage, I'm going to yell at that person, and I'm going to yell at them a lot. I'm going to give them what for, and it just happens to be Andrade. But I will say, as far as like a personality, well, if Andrade had one, then it would be about as interesting as paint that had dried 1,000 years ago. Wade Barrett defending Chad Gable's nipples was not on my 2025 bingo card. Pat McAfee forgot Andrade's name. Can't blame him. This match so far has felt more formulaic than the women's ladder match. I disagree. I felt the women's ladder match was more formulaic. Cole used...
I mean, it's all formula. It's all baby milk.
I was spitting out formula while you were spitting up formula. Anyway.
Oh, shut up.
Cole used Wikipedia to reference that Gable is Americano, and Wade saying, and there's never been any errors in the history of Wikipedia. LMAO, Wade, we don't deserve the absolute genius at commentary you've become. Wade is the absolute best commentator in WWE right now.
Yeah, there's no hands down. He's the best commentator. I wouldn't have said that a couple years ago, but we're here now.
Honestly, I never would have called Wade Barrett being an amazing commentator. I never would have called that.
Because he has enough smart assery, but good commentary to go along with it.
He's the lovable kind of smarmy, douchey English dude. You know what I mean?
And it's the thing is that he's doing all the stuff to be a jackass, but not have Pat McAfee's douche energy with it.
He's the heel commentator, but not to the point of driving you insane and muting the TV. He's not like
Michael Cole from 2010 to 2012.
Yeah, he knows when to dial it back. Solo being an arrogant dick and mimicking everyone in the ring is a great layer for him. He's starting to really build on his personality, and Sean is and Skylar's really hitting those slopes with his snowboard.
What?
Like you and your windbreaker, man. Like it sounds like a spaceship is landing next to you.
So that's why. Okay, windows back up.
He's starting to really build on his personality, and I hope they can figure out a way to rebuild his momentum. Andrade can't even springboard properly. He's done absolutely nothing he's been involved with right tonight. I disagree. Maybe just sell by the hard camera barricade for the rest of the match. It's not like you're needed here for the overall outcome. I genuinely do feel Sean is being way too harsh on Andrade.
He just hates Mexicans.
When you hear the beginning of my Worlds Collide review, that comment in particular is going to be especially hilarious. 6 guys on 3 ladders is a spot we see in almost every Money in the Bank match. The women didn't do it, and I was rather... Yes, they did. They actually did do it. This I forgot to mention that I did think was stupid. The spot where Andrade was like, yes, Penta, you're my friend, I'll let you win. Psych! Punch to the gut. That was dumb. That made Penta look very gullible, and I didn't like that very much.
Yeah.
WWE, this new administration, can we please not have dumb babyface syndrome as prevalent, please? Thank you. You can take it, no, you take it, no, let's climb a ladder and have the same conversation up there, okay, I'll take it, exchange was stupid. If you're in this match, you're trying to win a world title shot, not given to someone else in the match that you're trying to beat. Why would Penta believe Andrade actually wanted Penta to grab it? We need to eliminate all of these make the babyface look like a moron for trusting anybody's spots. I know the Code Red and the Mexican Destroyer are different spots, but doing both on the ladder position the same way does push my repetitive spot button. Having said that, it looked brutal, maybe one of Penta's best destroyers. I agree with that. Wade and Pat gaslighting Cole all match about Gable being El Grande Americano went from annoying to downright hilarious the longer this match went on. Fireball is responsible for one of the worst hangovers I've ever had. I don't know which one made me want to vomit more, actually drinking the Fireball or knowing that they're sponsoring the fucking furniture. I was starting to get bored watching this match. The women found a way to diversify the story, but this match was just the same Money in the Bank match we've seen, and I don't know how many. Again, I don't agree with that. There was plenty of story in this match. That was until LA Knight did the weakest slingshot known to man that got Gable onto scale 1 ladder, coast with another ladder onto Penta's ladder, and headbutt him with the plate. The subsequent rotating back suplex LA Knight gave Gable was chef kiss. Braun Breaker cutting people in half with a spear will always be fun to watch. So it's the heel group of Rollins, Heyman, Breaker, and Reed versus the equally heel team of Solo, JC Mateo, and Jacob Fatu. I know what they did with Solo and Fatu changes things, but on the surface level it's strange. Again, you need to watch more of the TV to understand why they do some things like this. I know that a lot of the TV is not exactly your cup of tea, but to understand some of the things that happen on the paper, you kind of have to watch the TV.
I can't just watch the pay-per-views and not have to watch the really, really, really long show with many, many commercial breaks.
The human race has invented 2 things: context and a fast-forward button. I suggest you use those. The pop-up Samoan drop to Bronson Reed is just the epitome of how amazing Jacob Fatu is. He's going to be the best drawing Samoan of the next 5 years for WWE. It isn't the gimmick it once was, but when it comes to Solo after Fatu betrayed him, I only have 2 words for you, gentlemen. Red spandex.
Fuck you.
We're bringing that back.
Fuck you. That's not the gimmick.
I understand why they gave this briefcase to Seth. They're trying to make Heyman's Hustlers feel like they're the biggest thing going for WWE, and Seth having the power to cash in for a world title any moment helps that along. Here's why I don't like it. Seth is kayfabe Teflon. He can ask for a world title shot at any time, and because of his resume, he'll most likely get it. This match and this opportunity seemed like it was the sink or swim moment for LA Knight's window of top guy status, and that window has finally shut for good. Again, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I can understand the frustration.
I think there's actually a good chance that LA Knight wins the world title and Seth Rollins cashes in on him.
I think there's a don't discount LA Knight for he's unless he moves to Raw. If he moves to Raw, I could honestly see him winning King of the Ring. But again, we just have to wait and see if he moves to Raw. If he moves to Raw, honestly, then that him moving to Raw will absolutely be his last chance as far as being a top guy is concerned.
No, but the thing is that if he wins the world title, I can easily see Seth Rollins cashing in on him.
Potentially. It depends on what they do tonight. They've had the chances, and LA has remained as over as he has despite their booking. This, to me, just solidifies that where LA Knight is on the card is as high up as the WWE will ever let him go. I personally felt like LA had more to lose by not winning than Seth had to gain by winning, and it pains me to think that I'm ultimately going to call for his release for his own good the same way I've called for it for guys like Finn Balor and Shinsuke Nakamura. It is nowhere near that bad. It is, like, Finn Balor, like, his nickname on social media is Pin Balor, and that's for a reason, because he loses constantly. LA Knight, yes, he has lost more than he's won this year, but I wouldn't abandon all hope just yet. Although, again, I can understand the frustration. What WWE...
The frustration is there with LA Knight because we really all see the talent in him and we want him to get that world title. It's just WWE's in a place now where they have stars and they have talent, and it's no longer just get over and you will get world title. Now it's get over and you'll get world title maybe.
Maybe.
Because you have Cody Rhodes, you have CM Punk, you have Jey Uso, you have all these great baby faces, and LA Knight's not over enough to be over past all of those guys.
Also, the crop of people in WWE, there are so many people, like from my perspective, that are way better than LA Knight. Again, that's just my own personal bias because I personally just, like, it's cool that he's been over for as long. I personally don't get it. I personally see him as a mid-carder myself. So, again, that's just me. But, again, I wouldn't completely give up. But speaking of giving up, what WWE has given us, these folks, is all they're going to. So any hope of LA Knight breaking the glass ceiling is all but dead. I hope WWE proves me wrong, but every time we talked about someone in this capacity, they never do prove me wrong. The match itself was okay. I got bored at points in how formulaic it got, including the run-ins. The match had its moments, but considering how the Money in the Bank winners have been treated on the men's side lately, I'm bold enough to claim that if they keep the match concept, they should only do it for the women. I don't agree with that. They should either do it for the men and the women, or just don't do it at all. Leave the chamber to the men, women get Money in the Bank. The women outshined the men on this night, in my opinion, and told a better story with the resources they had. While I'd be happy to never see another Money in the Bank match ever again, I agree with that. The ladies at least did some different things with the quality talent the WWE sees big things in and made the match on the whole feel more important, as opposed to the mid-pool of participants and an overly predictable winner in Seth. This was my least favorite thing on the entire show. Yeah, this was the divergence of opinions on this night.
Editor run-in! Hello everyone, it is your Colonial Champion Sean McCarty. Just wanted to clarify a few things real quick about those notes, because it's been a good chunk of time since Money in the Bank has passed. Number one, it's the outcry from people all over the world about LA Knight that gives me renewed hope that they actually are going to take this seriously, and LA Knight really might just get this chance, because people are making their voices heard that they wanted LA Knight to win this, and we've seen from R-Truth that occasionally WWE is willing to listen to the fans. So if we keep that up, I think that will actually ultimately prove to be fortuitous for LA Knight. So I have a little more renewed hope that LA Knight is not dead as a result of this Money in the Bank match. And I've been back and forth about the Andrade thing. I think at the time I felt a little too harsh, but now I'm doubling down. The dude needs to go. The dude is useless. And if not, on the whole, with the Santos Escobars, now that you've got AAA and you've got actual lucha stars like Penta and what they're building with Phoenix, you don't need the guys who have been here forever who have not been able to break that glass ceiling. And that includes Santos Escobar and Zelina Vega and basically the entire LWO who's not named Rey Mysterio. The addition to that is, too, look at the names on this Money in the Bank. Solo, they've been somewhat using him lately, so you could at least make the case that there's a possibility that him having the briefcase could actually move him along. There was some chance he could win. Penta, they're using him. He's hot. I would have been shocked if he won it, but there's still a chance because of their partnership with AAA that they'd be able to do that, and that would be viable, and that he could. There was a % chance that Penta could win given how they view Penta within the company. They also had Seth, obviously the winner, LA Knight, who's got this giant crowd swell behind him. You've got El Grande Americano, who, say what you will about the whole Gable gimmick back and forth, they like using Chad Gable. And I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to do, El Grande Americano wins it and then Gable tries to cash it in when they ultimately pay that off. So there was still a chance with the way that they've been using El Grande Americano and Chad Gable that there was a possibility. However, there is zero chance, absolutely zero chance, Andrade, who they've been doing a little with, but there's been nothing major behind him. And it's not that I don't watch the television. I only follow certain parts of the television. I know what happens on the shows, but I'm not sitting there watching 3-4 hours of mostly commercials and then nitpicking through. I see the pieces that I want to see. So I understand that y'all want me to watch the television more, but I will watch the parts of television that actually keep me engaged. And Andrade's not one of those people. And so I knew of the heel versus heel thing that they teased the week before. It's not that I'm ignorant to these things. So I want to just make that clear that I am still relatively abreast of what's going on the show. Not on, and that's something that's important. But back to my point on Andrade. Everyone else in that list, you could at least have given a percentage of a chance of actually winning that match based on how they're viewed. Andrade had no chance. There was no point to him being there. There was no way they were going to do a gigantic swerve all the way back like that, especially because he has no personality and the crowd is not behind him really at all, or minimally at most, because he's put on at the times of the show that don't matter. So there's no reason he had to be there. Imagine that spot being filled by AJ Styles. Think about how that spot would have been if it was filled by someone just anywhere more important. Even Rey Mysterio as a former champion. You wouldn't expect him to win, but the point is, there is at least 15 other people who WWE cares about a lot more than fucking Andrade to put in that matchup than him. And then he's useless in that match because he doesn't do half the stuff he does correctly, because he botches the elbow and then he botches the springboard.
And it's like, what are we doing here? You've got better luchadors who are in better position to have better drawing money for the company and better matches and sell more merch. And you have people who have more personality and can make more personality happen on screen as luchadors. So what is the back return on investment for WWE keeping Andrade around? They got rid of R-Truth and Carlito because they wanted to cut on some talent overhead with some contracts, and that was where they went the direction. But they can't cut absolute fodder in Andrade. I don't mean to be this negative about this dude, but there is a reason why his spot in this matchup meant nothing. And then he did nothing in it. He was pointless in this match. And while JoshAgeddon and I will always disagree at this point, and I respectfully agree to disagree with JoshAgeddon, that's the way things are with the three of us. You know, we don't always have to have the same opinion, and we don't mind when one of us agrees and disagrees and go, okay, that's just the way we view it. But as far as I'm concerned, get rid of this waste of talent, roster, space. Back to you guys.
Also, Skylar's Wang is the real Never Seen 17. Just ask the ladies who have been shish kebabbed by it. You can't talk to them because they died of orgasmal pleasure. Your response. I need it.
Well, I do have a BWC.
No, you have a BJC. Why are we like this?
Because we're human males in our late 20s to early 30s and we're horny as shit.
Fuck me, Skylar. All right, so we're now moving on to our main event of the
Wait,
evening.
Joshua, homo or no homo?
Comment down below what you think it should be, loyal listeners of both TAP and CMP. We're leaving Skylar's fate up to you, and just how raw his tiny little perky anus gets. Anyway, so
Hey, I'm doing the fucking around here.
we can take turns. 69, me Kenny. I can tell that Skylar's ready for this to be over. So, our main event for the evening while Skylar's struggling to recompose himself. We
I'm
had...
smoking the whole pot plant at this point.
he's developing lung cancer as we speak. John Cena and Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. Skylar, what did you think of this match?
This was a really fun tag match, even though it was a WWE tag team match.
Elaborate.
Very good wrestling, hot tag, shenanigans.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of shenanigans.
This is honestly the best tag team match I've seen WWE put out in a hot minute. Like, straight up.
But it's also a WWE main event tag team match with 4 single wrestlers doing spots and shenanigan bullshit.
Hey, Sean, you know how you are mourning the death of tag team wrestling? It apparently is the only way they can actually have a tag team match be something to your liking when they have single stars briefly team up and tag against each other instead of having actual tag teams. Right? If Cody and Jay, they've won tag team titles before. Maybe they didn't mention that they've won tag team titles before because they wanted the crowd to care about this match.
Oh, wow. I didn't think about that. They did win the tag team titles for the Judgment Day.
Yep. And they did it on the fast lane.
Oh. And Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes were drunk at that press conference, too.
Yeah, they had quite the libation experience on that interview post-show. But yeah, I very much enjoyed this match. I think...
Again, I'm not saying I didn't enjoy this match. It's just one of those things where you have to know with WWE and the tag team matches that they have with these guys, and especially with these 4, and the amount of stuff that... It's overbooked. And if you can get past the overbooking, it's going to be a fun time.
I can absolutely get past the overbooking because everything they did made sense. But one thing that made me laugh, especially considering the sensibilities of our good friend Sean, there was only one person in this match who did the shoulder slap, arm slap, back slap tag. And do you know who that person was?
Is it 10-time tag team champion Jey Uso?
It was not Jey Uso who did the most noticeable. I honestly can't remember if Jey did it. From what I remember, Cody and Jey did hand tags a lot. John Cena did nothing but arm slap, chest slap, back slap tags. The fact that this is such a bone of contention with tag team wrestling with Shawn, and the veteran of this match was the only person doing it, I was dying. I was like,
yeah, but John Cena, and John Cena is the guy who always does stuff in matches that annoys people.
It was just so funny to me. It was.
I mean, between
so
that and
me.
John Cena's talking, which was loud.
I mean, it always is.
But every single time, I hate you, Joshua. You pointed it out to me once, and now I can't unsee it.
Well, I'm sorry that I have ears that work.
Well, it's not the ears. It's his mouth and how much he moves.
Yeah, he does have a very big and very loud mouth. Unfortunately...
Yeah, that he uses to suck dick in order to get this world title that The Rock refuses to show up for. Yeah. Okay, I'm getting my gripes outside.
Although I will say, you know who looked the best in this match?
Logan Paul.
Logan Paul was absolutely fantastic in this match. Cody looked good. Jey looked good. John Cena was John Cena. Logan Paul looked like $1,000,000 in this match.
Listen. Is Logan Paul a scummy human being? Absolutely. Salt of the earth. Logan Paul is doing his gimmick better than MJF ever did.
Yeah.
Logan Paul is going to be the world champion the next year or two.
Logan Paul, he might as well start calling himself a more famous MJF.
Oh.
Yep. The bidding war of 2024, huh? How'd that go out for you?
Yeah, now he's being Bobby Lashley's bitch.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, okay? Logan Paul was great. I know we're going to skip a lot of this match, but we need to get to the highlight of this match, even if it was cringy.
And that was?
Logan Paul standing on the top rope holding a drone.
Okay. At first, I was like, where are they going with this? Them showing that close of a superplex, that looked cool. I very much like that.
Followed by the frog splash?
Yeah, well, honestly, I could have done without the frog splash. It was cool because you didn't see Jey, but
that's the cool thing is that you see Logan Paul emoting to the camera. He doesn't notice that Cody Rhodes is coming up to superplex him. You get the superplex, so you feel what it's like to be superplexed. And then out of nowhere, Jey Uso, you don't even see Jey. You just feel the impact of his body.
I thought it was really cool. Although me personally, I would have just stopped at the superplex. That's just me. But it was very cool.
No, this was the absolute highlight of the night. Kudos. Mwah, beautiful.
Can I tell you something that really stood out to me, that really made me... it was something that Jey did that I really liked.
Oh, wait, you're praising Jey Uso?
Yeah, I'm a fair man. Occasionally. Just don't say the words Zelina or Vega too close to one another, or then I spontaneously combust.
Once you get past Jey Uso yeeting,
I don't understand why Shadow likes Latinas. Anyway, so during you know how Logan Paul does the buckshot lariat way better than Hangnail Page does?
Yes.
Well, unfortunately, Logan Paul slipped a little bit, and Jey, to his credit, saw that, super kicked the crap out of him. He absolutely saved that spot.
Wait, they didn't try to repeat the spot?
No, this is an AEW.
Just checking.
Or an indie show. And the commentators, to their credit, they jumped on that and they sold it as Logan Paul made a mistake, and Jey Uso, the more experienced professional wrestler, pounced on an opportunity that presented itself. That was such a good save of what could have been a very embarrassing botch.
Yeah.
And And also,
this match was so good. This was a great match.
Also, I'm going to give a compliment sandwich. Jey Uso is a great tag team wrestler because he was great in this match. Jey Uso, at the same time, sucks complete and total ass crack as a singles wrestler. Because this was the best match he's had all year.
So you're saying he's a better tag team wrestler than a singles wrestler?
I think his singles run has proved that time and time and time again.
So he needs to be in a tag team.
I don't hate him as much as Twitter does, but
but it's getting there.
But I'm looking forward to when we don't have to deal with this anymore. He should not have the world title. I get it. He was over because people like saying easy to understand one-syllable, four-letter words because people are kind of stupid. I get it. I'm just looking forward to when this is over with, so we can have the world title on a singles wrestler. Because you see, Skylar, the tag belts are what the tag team wrestlers should get. The singles belts are what the singles wrestlers should get. We shouldn't be cross-pollinating like we are, because it's weird and it doesn't work.
And the trios belt is what the trio should be getting somewhere that's not in WWE.
The trios belts should not exist in any company ever because it is a stupid idea.
But 6-man tags.
I don't care. That concept has been ruined for me. Thank you, Tony Khan.
You're welcome.
But also, okay, I also really love this. Just again to praise Logan Paul some more. Dude, John Cena tried to give he tried to give Cody an attitude adjustment from one announce table to another. Cody squirmed out, and Jay did his god-awful spear on the announce table. And Logan Paul did the most gorgeous springboard moonsault through the table that I've ever seen. Mazel tov.
Yeah, everything they did with the table was great, except the table they were actually doing it on.
That's the thing. I bet that sucked as far as a landing is concerned.
They need to get rid of this shitty table. Just get the regular table that can actually, break properly.
I'm just concerned, because, yes, the breakaway tables they usually use for the announce tables, they were obviously breakaway tables, but it also looked cool when people go flying through it. These, they just look weird, and they look like they hurt.
And somebody's gonna get hurt on them.
So yeah, I'm with Skylar. Bring back the original announce tables. Before someone breaks something.
Please.
But then
Please.
We get to the most newsworthy part of the entire show. The referee is dealing with the dead bodies of Jay and Logan. John Cena grabs the belt, and what I thought was going to happen is he was going to try to hit John was going to try to hit Cody. Cody would block, and then hit John Cena and pin him. But I feel like they're saving that. Because that's coming. Probably at SummerSlam. That's probably the finish of the match at SummerSlam. But no, John Cena hit Cody in the face with the belt. And I was like, okay, they're not winning this match, are they? And then a hooded figure stormed the ring and tackled John Cena. And immediately, you want to know when I knew it was R-Truth?
When his shirt went over and you saw black skin.
When I saw his black back. There's no other way I could phrase that. There's no other way I could phrase that. His lower back region. His lats. So then I was like, oh my god, they brought R-Truth back. And despite all of our annoyances and reservations about R-Truth doing the same I don't have a brain anymore gimmick for a long time that we're all sick of, the pop this got was insane. You sound somewhat displeased, Skylar.
I am only displeased because the IWC ruined the moment. Fuck you, wrestling fans. Be patient. They know what we want.
Yeah, well, my thing is, because now the conversation that has been for the past several days is, was this a shoot or was this a work?
It's a shoot.
Yeah.
It's a shoot. They legit fired him. They realized, oh God, we made a mistake. Please come back. And Truth is like, okay, but I get to be Ron Killings.
I was back and forth over the past couple of days on whether or not this was a shoot or a work. But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, this was a shoot. Because
and it's just like with the thing with The Rock at WrestleMania 40. They realized they fucked up and they pivoted.
Yeah.
And thankfully, Ron was willing to come back, even though he did not return any calls when they tried to call him until Nick Khan came and called him.
Which, honestly, hey, if Dollar General, because I mentioned Dollar General fired me earlier, if they tried to call me immediately afterwards, I probably wouldn't want to talk to them either, so I don't blame R-Truth for that.
But the fact that he was willing to come back, and not only that, but get his own terms, use his name on his merch. And do you want to know what he did on Monday Night Raw?
What?
He stood on the announce table, he cut off a part of his hair and said, "The truth has set me free. I'm Ron Killings, and I am the whole truth and nothing but the truth."
Okay.
And you want to know how, like, this pop that he got on Raw, just from a little bit that I've just seen, it's great.
Hey, R-Truth is like, when me and Sean watched that god-awful mixed tag team match the other day, R-Truth was the best part of that. He can wrestle. He's a good wrestler. He's a good wrestler. We've been podcasting for 2 hours. I'm tired. He's a good wrestler.
Yeah, I am the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so put some respect on my name.
If they have him in a much more serious capacity, where he's not just a comedy dude and he actually does some serious shit, I'm all for it.
If they have him win the world title by beating John Cena...
Dude, if that happens, that would be insane.
It's not going to happen, but if it does...
I don't know how I would react to that. It depends on how they would do it.
I mean, it should be Cody that gets it back, but now they have R-Truth or Ron Killings as the person that could help him do it. Like, sure, why not?
We'll see. But
Oh, you can picture it right now. Survivor Series, Cody Rhodes have been taken out by John Cena's lackeys. Randy Orton, RKO. CM Punk, go to sleep. R-Truth, kill switch. Like, all the people that John Cena screwed over coming back to get one on him.
I can see that.
Damn it, I'm a better booker than WWE. Pay me.
All right. But
I know. I've been podcasting for 2 hours, too. I'm tired.
Yeah, so R-Truth gets a monster pop, hits John Cena with the belt, and then Cody Rhodes gives... Okay. John Cena cannot take the Crossroads. It looks terrible.
The thing is that John Cena, you can clearly tell physically he doesn't have it anymore,
Yeah.
like, as he used to.
I respect
All of his
it.
matches have been kind of lackluster, and it kind of needs the other person to carry him.
I respect him, and I can tell that he's trying, but it's unfortunate that the main feud in WWE right now for the world title is Cody and John Cena, and Cody's finishing move is a move that John Cena absolutely just cannot take. So
It's also a thing where, like, I understand why. There was the interview that he did with People Magazine where the reason why he doesn't have the same tan appearance is because he got cancer. And that probably explains why he doesn't have the muscles like he used to. It's hard. Listen. Getting old is hard.
Yeah.
Father Time is undefeated. You have to appreciate the greats while they're still there and while they're still able to do their stuff. I am appreciative of John Cena for doing everything he's doing. He definitely deserves this world title run. It is clear he needs to retire after this year.
I agree. Like it is that time. But
before it gets worse, like Chris Jericho or Cope.
I can't.
Get out while your legacy is still good.
I can't cope. I can't cope with that. I refuse. That is too much pain. But speaking of pain, coping, and being on the edge, what did Sean have to say about this match, Skylar?
More bitching about it being 20 minutes from the start of the match to Seth Rollins winning. I don't know why at this point I'm bothering to complain about milking, but but I could have taken a strong laxative before every WWE show and take a full-blown scroll-through Facebook dump in between each match.
Hey, I'll take...
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong, but I'm fine with it because it gives you a cool down between matches. It's better than AEW match after match after match after match after match after match. Everybody match after match. It's better than that.
I saw this match live, so I don't get into much detail. All in all, this tag match was very good. Cena and Logan took their sweet time getting a good amount of heat on Jey Uso, and Cody got the one and only hot tag after Cena and Logan couldn't coexist together. Jey is the weakest worker of the four, so the fact he was the one that got the heat made the most sense. Once the hot tag happened, the match only went on for another 5 minutes, which is atypical for what tag matches usually consist of. I love to see Logan Paul sue Adam Page for the buckshot lariat. Not only does Logan Paul do the move so much better than Page, but I'd also love to see Page getting punished for being the absolute shit heap that he is and for ruining AEW. Glad he's getting a whole world title push.
Yeah.
He's winning the title off of Moxley, and that's going to suck.
Yeah.
Fuck these new announce tables. They look like they hurt like hell, and I guarantee someone important is going to tear an ACL or worse as a result of them. They're blocky and stiff as fuck. Logan Paul did his moonsault onto Jey Uso, and I genuinely worry that Logan tore something. Cena blasts Cody with the belt and looks semi-proud of himself, and then Triple H formula angle happens. The crowd absolutely lost their minds when R-Truth returned, but does it always have to be a black bandana, black hoodie, and black jeans every single time? You know what? He's right. WWE needs to start the hoodie line. Just sell everything at Hot Topic black hoodie, WWE.
Yeah.
Every ambush, it's always a black hoodie.
Put some logos on it.
It will make it less obvious.
Have someone come out to the ring in a I don't know, a Taco Bell hoodie.
Given where our politics are going these days, the usage of the word taco is going to be very interesting.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely getting ads on this video.
I'm starting to put the hashtag bad formatting tag on Triple H because he's got good ideas but executes them in the same style, which diminishes it a bit for me. I was shocked to see Truth back, and I'm incredibly glad the IWC now has to put their foot in their mouth. As if their fucking potato-shaped incels could even bend over to touch their toes. Hell, most probably can't even find their dicks anymore after all these toaster strudel icing packets they have for breakfast. Wow.
Not one lie was... Tell him when he's telling lies.
It seemed like the crowd forced R-Truth's return, but WWE is billing him as wrong killings. If this means that after all this time we see a serious version of this man, then sign me up and I'll start to... Oh, goddamn Sean. I'll start to bleach my anus for the arrival of Big Jimmy.
Oh my god.
Don't forget to subscribe to Ron Killings OnlyFans.
I still can't believe he actually did that.
A serious Ron's Killings runs isn't something I expected, but in a year where the unexpected happens quite a lot, I am here for it. Okay. His grammar was fine there.
Okay.
Cody gets a win he needs against John Cena, but this does make me think that Cody won't be the man to take the WWE Championship off of John. I'm not sure where they're going to head with Cody next, but this tag match sent the fans home happy. R-Truth got the pop like Dean Malenko got at Halloween Havoc in 1998, and that's hefty praise for the 53-year-old. All in all, this was a great tag match, if only they treated their actual tag team division this way.
Wipe thy tears, Sean. It will be okay. I can just hear him hullabalooing now as we speak.
Well, after all that hullabaloo, what did he say about the whole show? Because you had the last bit of notes.
Overall rating. While I maintain my overall distaste for the Money in the Bank concept as a whole, I enjoyed this show. Nothing on it was cheesy or overly awful, except Andrade. Bro, you gotta let this go. I don't get the Andrade hate. And I was pleasantly surprised at the quality of both women's matches. I would love nothing more to see this become a one-off on a different show and not be a show on its own. Or better yet, just get rid of the entire concept altogether. WWE did such a good job of getting rid of the gimmick pay-per-views. Why have they been so adamant on keeping this one? Because they struck gold in 2011 and now they can't... It's like when you get that first high... and you can never recapture it, but damn it, you're going to keep on trying. That being said, I give this show a solid 7 out of 10. That's actually higher than I thought it was going to go. A solid 7 out of 10. Not the best Money in the Bank they've done, but by far not the worst either. Thank you both for putting up with my notes, and thank you to all the loyal listeners of both CMP and TAP for your constant support. And don't forget to subscribe to Ron Killings' OnlyFans, and I will see you on the next one. Peace. All right, Skylar, your overall final thoughts on Money in the Bank 2025.
Despite some of my criticisms and despite some of my feelings of just over-packaged ads and just my general annoyance with wrestling fans, this was a good show. Yes, it is not the show for me personally, but I can get past that and enjoy the good time that I did have. And genuinely, go back and watch this main event. Go back. None of the matches here are bad enough. I will watch every match again, honestly. Just, if you're bored on a random Saturday, just throw on this pay-per-view. There's a lot of rewatch value with this show. In all honesty, it's a good pay-per-view. And right now with WWE, they need the good pay-per-views because they need to build back momentum. And hopefully this will be the first of many, many good pathways to what will be a fun summer. Again, good show. And for a Bay pay-per-view, a 7 out of 10 is solid.
All right, so 2 7 out of 10s. I'm going to go a little bit higher. I loved this show. I thought this was the best pay-per-view they've done since Elimination Chamber and the second best pay-per-view they've done all year. I thought this was a very good show. Even though the men's Intercontinental Championship match between Dominic Mysterio and Octagon Jr. was kind of whatever, I enjoyed myself. I thought every match was either very good to fantastic. I very much enjoyed the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. I loved the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Lyra and Becky stole the whole damn show, the whole damn day. And we had a very good tag team match with a solid ending with R-Truth's return. I'm giving Money in the Bank 2025 an 8.5 out of 10. I had my critiques, and yes, the excessive advertisement is very annoying. You don't need logos on ladders and tables, WWE. That is ridiculous. TKO, put it back in your pants. So yeah, I give the show...
At this point, they need to start a company-wide OnlyFans.
That's essentially what they're turning WWE into, because they're all oily and half-naked and touching each other.
And we got to see Lyra Vicaria's bird feather booby things.
And on that note, thank you guys so much for watching. And thank you, Skylar, for joining me here on both the TAP and the CMP. What did you think of Money in the Bank? What are your predictions for the King and Queen of the Ring tournament? And what do you think the card for SummerSlam is going to be? We will see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Good night, everybody.